Is it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We'll see what happens. We'll know in a very short period of time, but it looks like it could be something that will be not good. Believe me, not good.
I am a dissident.
Don't move. Move.
I'm saying no. Why you hear Palantir, 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 Palantir? It's not going to stop.
Seriously, we need to release the F-scene list.
Turns off.
I am not a church boy.
Turns off.
They're full-on vampires.
They hate our beef. They hate our beef. They hate our beef because our beef is beautiful and theirs is weak.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
Decision to defect to One Nation is dragging you further into a place of intolerance and racial discrimination. You're defending your leader, but are you really comfortable with where she is taking you?
I think... Sit down! Sorry, it's a dog. I think that is incredible.
Sit down! Sit down! So Leon sent me a whole montage. Apparently, this guy is kind of known for having issues with his dog during interviews.
Oh, yeah.
But this was the first time he really lost his shit. No, it seems like a perfectly sweet dog. It seems like he should own a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll very often in the middle of interviews just be like, "Yeah, the sorry dog's acting like he just can't handle this dog."
I think my dog's losing her mind. My dog is going senile or something. She's getting old. And if I leave the room into my in-laws apartment, which is on the side of the house, and I just come back in from there, she's like, ruff, just acts like somebody's at the door. I'm like, it's me coming back from the other room. What is wrong with you? Yeah.
How old's the dog?
She's not that old. I mean, she's turning 10 this year.
She's not losing her mind age yet.
She's getting up there. I don't know if she's quite that age yet, but yeah, she's starting to show some signs. But
this guy, TV. From what I saw, it's like a sweet little kind of medium-sized dog,
right?
This guy just shouldn't own it.
Yeah. You got to get away from it when you're on TV. Maybe it follows him around. Maybe it likes him.
Well, that's the weird thing. He's always with this dog.
Yeah, he's always with the dog.
But then he's complaining about the dog while he's on camera.
Yeah. Those are the joys of home broadcasting.
Look,
hey,
man,
hello.
I would know about it if I hadn't been married to an Australian. Australian politics are crazy, man. They had a prime minister, Abbott. This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. He was doing a radio call-in, and somebody called in, and the woman goes, and he's on camera. The woman goes, it's on radio. She says, "Yeah, so I was a sex worker." He goes,
yeah, right. That's funny.
It's very Aussie, man.
I saw something funny before we came on just now. It's Kash Patel tweeting out that they're cracking down on scammers, phone scammers. Yeah. Which the thing that's funny about that is he kind of sounds like an Indian scammer himself. So you could get a real who's on first skit going. Imagine calling the FBI to report a scam and he answers, "Hello, it's Kash Patel, FBI. What?" I'm here to report a scam. Oh yeah, it was a scam. Wait, is this the FBI? Yeah, this is the FBI. Is this the? No shit, this is the FBI.
You sound like the guy who scammed me.
Yeah, exactly. You sound just like the guy I'm reporting. I can't tell the difference between you and the guy I'm calling in to report. See, that's comedy. That's comedy. If SNL had balls, they would write a sketch like that. That could be good.
But they never would.
Good. They would never do it. They would never do it, even in these times. Hello, dissidents. Welcome one and all to a Sunday evening edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. Keaton Weiss here with Russell Dobular once again.
Hello.
We got a great crowd in here. 11:36 to start the show. That's a fantastic crowd to start the show. You guys like this show, huh? All right. To each their own.
I like it.
To each their own. Hey, no accounting for taste.
Yeah. Fucking country of Philistines, man. That's what I always say.
That's right.
And then we have the freaking mix from across the pond over there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you got 393 in the Rumble chat. Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks to Jake in the booth. We are heading over to Q&A tonight after the show. So thanks everybody for being here. Tonight starts our new schedule where we'll be doing Sunday nights and Thursday afternoons. No Tuesday show. Russ will be on the Jimmy Dore show, however, on Wednesday. Because we're doing that Wednesday night, we're gonna push the film club to the following week. We'll do that the following Wednesday, since we don't want to do a double header per day if we're only doing 2 shows a week. And so rather than doing the 2 night shows and then the day show, we will push film club to next week, and then there will be 2 film clubs, one at the beginning of August and one at the end of August. But we got a great film that we're setting up for film club. So members, that'll be next week. Whatever the date is, next Wednesday looks like. But thanks everybody for being here. We will take your calls on Rumble for the Q&A after the show tonight, but we got a big show in here. Round of applause for Jake in the booth. Please do smash that like button. Let's get a nice big crowd in here, and I guess we shall get started. So Trump seems to be tacoing again as midterms approach. What a dance we do, huh? What a fun dance we do. So this was an exclusive that the Telegraph, of all outlets, happened to have. And I covered this a little bit with Rex Jones on Tuesday's show. But they had an exclusive Pentagon hiding missile shortage from White House insiders fear. And what do you know? Despite his tough talk, Trump holds off on major escalation against Iran as advisors raise concerns. Among the worries is that the expanded hostilities could dangerously drain the diminished stockpile of air defense munitions in the Middle East. So for all that money, what, $1.1 trillion? They seem to be running low on weapons. President Trump has set aside, at least for now, plans to sharply escalate the American military assault against Iran, with particular concern that intensifying the war could dangerously drain the Pentagon's already diminished stockpile of Patriot anti-missile interceptors and other air defense munitions in the Middle East. The threat to interceptor stockpiles is one of many considerations that have made a return to major combat operations a hugely risky endeavor, administration officials say. Sorry, my monitor's a little loud. I'm getting
While you pause for a second, we're getting this question more than I would expect. Trump always chickens out. That's what taco means.
That's what taco means. Yes. Sorry, my monitor was a little loud. Mr. Trump and his top aides are also uneasy about the prospect of a widening war in the Middle East, the alienation of key Gulf allies who are vulnerable to Iranian attack, a global economic crunch, and growing energy and refugee crises. The latest turn in Mr. Trump's handling of the conflict with Iran came after a meeting on Friday with top advisors and senior members of his cabinet, according to 2 people briefed on the discussion. The private deliberations have focused on the Pentagon's shrinking inventory of Patriot interceptors and other air defenses, the officials said, discussing operational matters on the condition of anonymity. Guess it's going to take longer for Ukraine to get those Patriot systems if we don't even have them for this. 3 U.S. soldiers in Jordan were killed last Friday when a ballistic missile slipped through American air defenses, fending off a barrage of Iranian missiles and drones, a senior U.S. official said. Few, if any, in Mr. Trump's inner circle believe the plan to escalate was wise, said the 2 people briefed. One senior official, who also spoke on the condition of anonymity, expressed doubts that resuming major combat operations would drive Iran back to the bargaining table. Oh, you don't say. The official said the strikes have the opposite effect of what is intended, keeping Iran cohesive and allowing Iranian leaders to focus attention on an external threat. Now, you add to that this headline, which, again, just imagine for a second what Fox News would say about this if this happened under a Democratic president.
Oh, wow.
Why the U.S. military is letting some Iranian projectiles through its defenses. That's right. So we're so short on missile defense that we're actually letting some missiles go through on purpose. That's according to NBC News, so that we don't waste what dwindling munitions we have. Here's a video.
With the talks between the U.S. and Iran escalating, new details about why the military is intentionally letting some Iranian missiles through their defenses. Our Courtney Kuby has that tonight. Courtney, what do we know?
Yeah, Hallie, 2 senior U.S. officials tell NBC News that military commanders are allowing some Iranian missiles and attack drones to get through air defenses amid an effort to preserve the Pentagon's shrinking supply of missiles to shoot them down. Now, Iran has fired nearly 9,000 projectiles since the war began, and U.S. officials insist they fire interceptors at anything on track to harm U.S. troops. But in some cases, missiles and drones bound for areas without troops can be let through even if they could inflict damage on base infrastructure, including ones that would have been shot down in the past. Hallie?
Again, just imagine Barack Obama started a war and ran out of munitions to the point where he just went, gotta let some through. Can't catch all of them. Gotta let some of those munitions fly through.
It's Iran is like a fuck with them. You gotta come out your sideways.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just imagine. But NBC, speaking of NBC, had Mike Waltz on, the UN ambassador, and Sarah Welker. Good on her for, I guess, nursing the hangover from the White House Correspondents' Dinner well enough to be back in the chair.
With Stephen Miller.
With Stephen Miller there, yeah. It's a big club. Well, here she is. Is America taking a step back because military stockpiles have been depleted? Let's see what Mike Waltz has to say.
Rationing some defense weaponry amid diminishing supplies. Is America backing away from a larger military attack because its military stockpile has been depleted?
Well, look, we have to take a step back here in that a lot of stockpiles were depleted, not only from what we gave Ukraine over the last however many years, 4 or 5 years, and the administration inherited, the Secretary Hegseth inherited a depleted situation from not only Ukraine, but also the ongoing fight with the Houthis under the Biden administration and a depleted military.
All right, okay, so blaming the Biden administration, that may have been a reason not to start the war, if you didn't have enough weapons, that may have been a reason why you shouldn't have done this, one amongst, maybe 1,000 others that are all being made known.
The Biden administration. So they have decided, one, they're going to new types of munitions, cheaper munitions, new technologies, but also with these new defense budgets, rebuilding our great military. However,
but you acknowledge
I want to be clear.
Do you acknowledge they're depleted at this moment?
I want to be crystal clear. The
Please
U.S.
do.
military, and I've verified this every which way, has everything that it needs to conduct this campaign as effectively as it needs to be.
Oh, really? That's why you're letting certain missiles through to blow up U.S. infrastructure? Really? Because that doesn't seem like you have everything you need. If you're deliberately allowing certain missiles to go through that'll destroy military infrastructure, that doesn't seem like you're doing everything you need to be doing. Doesn't seem like you have everything you need to me.
Well, let me clarify. We did some research and we found that Don Jr. is safe, Barron is safe, Ivanka is safe, Jared's safe. The soldiers might not be safe, but that's not really our priority. So what I mean is we have everything we need to protect Donald Trump and his immediate family and everyone that they care about. Grunts out in the field, maybe they might have a hard time for a while.
But we appreciate their sacrifice.
We appreciate their sacrifice. We, the Gold Star families, that's not just a name. They get a Gold Star. Remember,
they get a gold
remember
star.
how good you felt in first grade when you got the gold star? Well, that's what we give them when they lose a child.
Exactly. So
give
it's
them
not
that
all bad.
good feeling. Yeah.
And then Trump insults them when they insult him on a convention stage. Let's see what else he's got.
And
that's
I have
what
to
we call
tell you, the
FAFO.
people that are leaking this nonsense deserve to be in jail.
Well,
oh, okay. All right. So it's Biden's fault that the munitions are depleted. But actually, the munitions are not depleted, and whoever told you the munitions are depleted should be in jail. All right, that's very, very clear. I'm really glad he cleared that up.
Everyone should be in jail.
No, everyone should be in jail. That's the thing. That's the best way to solve problems. Is just throw everyone you don't like in jail. Yeah, that's one way of doing things.
They know their base.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, lock them up.
What'd you get the other day? What'd they say? What'd they say to you? Lawyer up?
Lawyer. Oh, that was just one of the with Epstein files thing. Yeah.
Lawyer
Lawyer
up.
up. Wait, because what you said was not true, even though I was literally just posting a photograph from the Epstein files. Yeah, no, that gets them going. Artie Vandelay, like the name, says they were depleted because of Joe Biden. They aren't depleted. If anyone says they're depleted, put them in jail. And Walt really did not hit it out of the park in this interview. Here's his answer to will more soldiers die. This cuts around a little bit, but we get the gist of it here.
Said that this conflict would last for a matter of weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. He said, we are now at the 5-month mark. Will this war be over by the new year?
Well, first, this war has been going on for 47 years.
Oh, that's right.
These attacks on Americans.
We just had it noticed, all the deaths of our soldiers.
Yeah, and Trump didn't notice that during the first term. You know, he didn't think this was urgent enough to start this war in his first term. If they've been at war with us for 47 years, where was Donald Trump in his first term? Why didn't he do this then?
Yeah.
Why not?
Not in this.
Of course, not necessarily this intensity, but at some level, Iran has been at war with the United States.
Should the country brace for more American lives to be lost in this conflict, Mr. Ambassador?
Every man and woman who signs up, as I have and so many others, to go serve knows of that eventual possibility. And my heart breaks for those families receiving the worst news.
Even the 19-year-old who signed up after Trump won a second term promising no new wars. You know, he promised not to do this, so she probably signed up to the military thinking she wouldn't have to do this, and now she's dead. She's 19. She graduated high school last year. Her too?
Of their lives, as does the president, all the way down the chain of command. Where I am thankful as a veteran is that we finally have a president who has said enough is enough.
Do you anticipate this?
Yeah, no, I'm sure they really appreciate that. I'm sure the troops who are in harm's way now with missiles flying through the defense shield because, you know, Secretary Keg's breath there, as Max Blumenthal calls him, you know, doesn't... I don't know. Did Blumenthal? No, Blumenthal calls him the DUI hire. I don't know where Keg's breath came from. Sorry, Max. Didn't mean to misquote you. So the troops who are, you know, at these bases and missiles are flying through, you know, damaging the infrastructure of these military bases. I'm sure they're great that Trump finally put his foot down after 47 years.
Will be concluded by the new year.
Oh, I'm not going to put some kind of timeline on it. The president has all options on the table, and he is exercising both diplomatic, economic, and military to achieve a very clear strategic aim. And that's what's different. The wars of my generation, we had policy drift. Here, the president is very focused.
Yeah, very focused. No, this is a very, very focused effort. Yeah.
Kristen, let me just be clear. If you're a member of the American underclass, you understand that you might have to die for rich people who don't care about you in order to try to pay for your education. If you go back to the medieval period, you didn't even get an education. So there's the chance of an education here in exchange for dying for wealthy elites who don't care about you. So I call that progress. That's the march of progress in history. Those are historical processes. Maybe one day, when you die for elites, it'll be in exchange for a rocket ship, right? That's what Elon's working on.
Yeah, that's the arc of history, bending toward justice, right?
Yeah.
But it's going a little too slow for certain people's taste. So, Mark Levin, honestly, if true, this is exhausting, he says, based on this report from the Hormuz letter.
We should really cast him in a revival of the front page.
Yeah.
Mark Levin.
The United States has requested a new temporary ceasefire with Iran and is seeking a return to the collapsed and suspended memorandum of understanding, with discussions also expected to include Yemen and Trump seeking to make the Houthis part of it, per sources. See, anytime there's reporting that Trump might taco, he gets very, very upset. You know who also doesn't like this news is good old Sid Rosenberg. Good old Sid Rosenberg, who goes on Fox News.
Friend of show.
Every time, yeah, right, exactly. Notice how every time there is a step towards peace. And I almost feel like a dupe even saying that, since we've seen this movie 1,000 times. I mean, it's amazing how Mike Waltz could say how focused Donald Trump has been. Every week, 3 times a week, he's like, we're going to annihilate them. They want to make a deal. We're going to crush them. Okay, we're going to make a deal. So this is anything but focus. But anytime there's a step away from all-out war, notice they send one of these pieces of shit on Fox News, because they know the president watches Fox News all the time, to lobby him into getting back to the work of annihilating Iran. So here's Sid Rosenberg on Fox News.
That President Trump is going to have to do. It is inevitable that President Trump is going to have to do what he doesn't want to do, which is go in there with this massive all-out attack. There's no other way to stop this. There's no other way to win this war. So, again, he's trying to do the best he can. He's a very nice man. I love President Trump. He doesn't want people to die. He really doesn't. Okay, he's a nice man. But there's no other way to end this. Once you start this, Midnight Hammer was great. Epic Fury was great. Once you start this, there needs to be a finish. And the only finish is complete surrender by the Iranians. I hate to say it, but complete annihilation.
Well, we talked last time about this. And by the way, I agree. I love President Trump. I love his heart, I think, is really for peace. And he's always, I love that even now, this past week, he's still talking about peace and wanting to find and leaving that door open for negotiations. You say the only end is annihilation. Now, what if winning this war requires boots on the ground? I asked you that last time. That's not very popular with the American people. What is your response to that?
It's not popular with me either. Look, I'm not a parent of an Army person, a Marine person, so I'm very sensitive to that. Trust me. But look, we have the Army, we have the Marines for a reason. They're not there to shake your hand at the airport, Rachel. Okay? They're there for a reason. Last I checked, we don't have a draft in this country. So these courageous men and women know exactly what they're signing up for. This is war. We don't want to see anybody die, but this is war. A war that started 47 years ago that they started.
Of course.
Yes, I know the moral ground is to say, I don't want our kids to die. I feel the same way. But we got to win. Now, we can win maybe without putting boots on the ground. Maybe we can. I don't know. I'm not Jack Keane. I don't have that type of information. If we can do that, great. But if at some point it requires putting some boots on the ground to win this war, that's why they signed up to fight.
That's why they signed up. That's right. So he's saying, hey, if we got to put boots on the ground, we put boots on the ground.
It's like you start out with an 8-ball and you say, hey, you know what? Now I'm in it. I can't stop doing 8 balls until I've gone through all the coke. Right? So Iran is like a big bag of coke that the president has stuck his nose in. Yeah. He's got to keep snorting it. This is something I know something about. As you know, I've been fired from radio multiple times due to my degenerate drug habits.
Yeah, didn't he like show up drunk or something after during the Republican convention in 2004 when Bush had New York City,
he's a notorious coke fiend. He got fired, recovered supposedly. He got fired from New York radio. Then he got hired again in Miami. He got fired again for substance abuse. And then he found the one addiction you can have that actually you'll never get fired for. He's addicted to Hasbro money. Right. Now he's doing that sweet Hasbro fix.
That's right, yeah.
And no worries now. He doesn't get fired for calling the mayor of New York a terrorist. So much so that the guy sitting next to him in that interview actually pushed back on him.
Oh, yeah, that was part of that interview, yeah.
It was like, you can't say that.
Wow. On Fox News, got restrained.
On Fox News, he went too far.
So Daniel Davis, he's a 4-time combat vet. He has his own show. This is the most grotesque and militarily illiterate war-lusting plea to President Trump I have literally ever heard. This Rosenberg fellow was given prime media real estate on Fox News to make a plea to President Trump to go to full-scale war with Iran to annihilate them.
He was on stage at the MSG thing. Rosenberg.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that does not surprise me. But here is Daniel Davis explaining why such a victory is impossible no matter what. So let's take a look at this. Come on. There we go. Sorry.
Show me, where is your strategy to win? Win the war. The war can't be won. He doesn't have a strategy to win because there is no strategy to win, because the military task cannot be accomplished just with bombs. That's what we've been trying to do. Air power and naval power.
What happened? What's
Hold
going
on.
on up there? Listen,
Something's
man. Listen, when I call you on the phone, it takes like 5 times. I say hello before you answer. Now, this is happening. Motherfucker, the Mossad is on you, man.
No, it's the
Mossad is up in your devices, man.
All right, here we go. Let's see now.
Yeah, I don't want to wind up getting in trouble
All of it has
because
to
of my
do with either
connection with
missiles
you,
or
man.
bombs. We can't win it. The country is as big as much of Western Europe, for God's sake. It's like 5 times bigger than Iraq. Bigger. And the terrain is much more formidable. The military is much more formidable than the one that we faced in 1991 in Iraq or 2003 in Iraq, for that matter. All of the terrain, all the mountain ranges and everything else, the way the whole geography of the country is arrayed is like a defender's paradise and an attacker's nightmare. So even if we had a field army, we would still impale ourselves and be destroyed piecemeal if we tried to go through the mountains. We're not going to. Number one, we don't have that military. But it doesn't matter. You can't win it with air power only against that target set, especially when they have foreseen this for decades and had the underground facilities, which you can't get at unless you go in and try to root them out, which you can't do because you can't get through the mountains, which you can't do because you don't have a damn army of that size anyway. And it would be foolhardy to the highest order to sacrifice hundreds of thousands of troops for something that doesn't even affect our national security. So that is your big problem. You didn't hear anybody in the Senate, that at least anybody that I saw, made that statement.
All right, well, that sounds like pretty convincing to me. I don't know. That guy seems to know what he's talking about more than I do here. Yeah.
Have you seen this army? You could give them all the tea that you want. Faggoty's a state of mind. And this is the fakest, gayest army ever fielded since Alexander's army. This is probably the gayest army that's ever existed. Look at the defense secretary. Look at the so-called Secretary of War. You telling me that guy's not lighting his loafers over there? Come on.
No amount of hormone therapy is going to win you this war. Yeah, no, I mean,
you ever see him throw an axe?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My granddaughter throws an axe more accurate than that.
Yeah. Yeah, she was raised right. So yeah, I mean, that seems to be the obvious truth. Once again, just look at a map. Look at a map. Just like you could tell how the Ukraine war was going to go by looking at a map, you could tell how this is going to go by looking at a map. It's really as simple as that. That guy's a 4-time combat veteran. No disrespect to him, but I don't think you need a 4-time combat veteran to tell you that this is not winnable. All cheerleading from chicken hawks like Sid Rosenberg and Mark Levin aside, if they feel so strongly about it, they should volunteer, or they should encourage their family members to go and volunteer. That is not an exaggeration. I mean that literally. If you believe in this war so much, you and or some of your immediate family members should be signing up to go. You know, Jesse Ventura just said, he said, you know what I would support? He said, I would support if, any congressperson who votes to go to war should have to enlist one of their family members in that war. If they care enough about it to send someone else in, or someone else's kid to die in it, then they should be willing to make that same sacrifice themselves and have one of their family members sign up. That only seems fair. But you could see
you
now.
Just bait Sid onto the plane with a bag of Coke, get him up there, get him good, get him coked up enough to jump out of that plane.
Exactly. Just make it worth his while. Make it worth his while. But we're going to do a segment next about just, how popular this war is now, about how things are looking as we get into midterm season. One of the things that I said right out of the gate when they signed this MOU is, hey, if this collapses in like July or August, that puts you a month and a half, 2 months closer to the midterms. And I think the reason why you see this waffling is for reasons that we saw when Trump went on stage at the G7 after inking the MOU. He knows this can only go one way. It is literally an impossible situation where something has to give, because Israel will not allow the war to end, But
Right.
Donald Trump knows he can't win it. For all their bluster, they know they can't win it. Why are they letting Iranian missiles go through their defense systems? That is a military in big trouble. That's a military in big trouble, whether they want to admit it or not. And how, with a budget of over $1 trillion, are you now begging we need 67 billion more, and now we have to ration our missile defense technology? I'm sure some of those Patriot systems are, headed to Ukraine. So we made one of the big mistakes of spreading ourselves too thin, which is a classic mistake that all empires make in the final days. But this can only go one way. And that's why I say it really is an impossible situation. And the more they drag this out at this point, the more uncertain it becomes, because the closer you get to the midterms, and Donald Trump said it himself, he says, I don't want to be Herbert Hoover. Well, it's not looking good for not being Herbert Hoover at this point.
We could use a man like Herbert Hoover again.
Yeah.
What's that from, Keaton?
Oh, I don't know. No.
You don't know? That was the opening theme of All in the Family.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah. Archie liked Herbert Hoover, apparently. That was the joke.
Yeah?
That was the joke.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Trump
before
doesn't.
Roosevelt came in and ruined everything.
All right. So,
The
Trump
welfare state.
Trump always gets compared to Archie Bunker. I guess he's more woke than Archie Bunker if he doesn't like Herbert Hoover.
He doesn't like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is why no president, even one with a melting brain, the last one we had enough brain melt to do this. Because once you're in, there's no getting out. There's no getting out without telling the Israelis to go fuck themselves. And you can't do that without getting kirked. You're going to get kirked. You're going to get butlered, right? Something's going to happen to you if you turn around and really try to excise Israeli power, influence, and money from the government. And that is the only way to actually get out of this. You would have to say no. And you can't say no because everyone around you is saying yes. The only power that the president had, because of their power over war, which every president exercised in regards to this particular thing, is to say no to going to war in Iran. That much independence they had. As long as they didn't get in it, they weren't going to get whacked for refusing to get into it. They could discreetly say no, that it being a big thing, and they could go their merry way. Trump, whatever reason, the money, Epstein Island antics that are on video. Honestly, I think it's both. He did it, man. And I don't think he wanted to do it. I think what Tucker says about that he told him Netanyahu hates you, Ben Shapiro hates you, all these people hate you. And he said, I know. I think that is true.
Oh, yeah. I think it's absolutely true.
So why'd he do it? Bribery and blackmail.
Yep.
Right, exactly. There's no way there's something he wanted to do or that he believed that these people had his best interests in mind when they urged him to do this. He allowed himself to be talked into this. And now I think he did not even realize what the full consequences are. So when you see him doing things like the MOU, it's him trying to convince himself that he actually can regain control of this situation. But as Israel has demonstrated, he can't. It's too late. You needed to not do it in the first place. And what you would have to do now, he won't do. That's why every time there's a news cycle where, oh, that's it, we're ending the war, I keep saying, no, we're not. No, we're not. How would that happen? How would it happen? Because Israel's going to keep giving you these provocations that there's no one in our government with the independence to say, well, that's on you guys. As long as that's not going to happen, well, now you got the Houthis involved and they're hitting Saudi Arabia. All of this was inevitable. It's the kind of thing that if it doesn't end, it's going to escalate. It's not, and you've had some of this just moronic reporting. Yeah, it'll probably be a lot of low-grade exchanges of fire. Really? So there's nobody else in that region impacted by this with agency to make decisions that's not going to let it go that way, like the Israelis themselves. You think the Israelis will just let it stay at that level? Like, why would you think that? I think a lot of people are looking at their 401ks and just trying to sprinkle fairy dust on what's clearly a potentially apocalyptic situation because they don't want to think through the implications. What are we, 5 weeks out of running out of oil in the strategic oil reserve?
Well, I think the calendar is a big factor here. And I think one of the reasons why the calendar is a big factor here is because of the midterms. I mean, you had, Ben Shapiro talking about how, maybe we need to, keep things relatively calm until after the midterms. Just like coming out and talk about having contempt for the people. Just be like, we can't really cause the end of the world until after the election because that's going to be bad for the party. So we just have to wait. But, it could be something as simple as shit hitting the fan right after that. I mean, this administration is shameless enough to just, keep this sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out kind of dance going until after the midterms. Although, as we'll see in this next segment here, their numbers are really starting to nosedive in a huge way right now. But it's a very, very dangerous time and a very, very volatile time. You really have a situation just like under Joe Biden where there may as well not be a president, except it's even worse in the sense that it's not necessarily the American deep state running things now, it's the Israeli deep state running things now, so it's even worse in that sense. Yep. All right, let's take some super chats. And Rumble Rants, you got some super chats there?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's take some super chats.
Sasa! Against my better judgment, I signed up with DSA. What is that? South Texas?
San Antonio, Texas.
San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, congratulations.
Yesterday.
Let's have a round of applause for the DSA. The DSA guy.
Don't clap.
No
don't
clap.
clap.
No clapping.
No clapping. Some people are sensitive.
Some people, exactly. If you must clap, at least warn people to take their headphones out.
Yeah, jazz hands. Hands preferred.
Jazz hands. Yeah.
I signed up with DSA San Antonio yesterday. Let's see how supportive they will be versus the Bexar County Dems. Love your work, boys. Hey, man, you're trying to do so. We make fun.
Yeah,
of
we're busting your balls.
That video, we're busting your balls.
We're busting balls over here.
Hey, man, try to do something positive.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing? Talking shit. The hell, man.
Drinking fucking seltzer.
Drinking seltzer.
Podcasting and drinking seltzer.
I'm fucking hanging pictures for the last 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Me shoot skeet. Super sticker. Thank you. I finally got around to the stuff I brought back from Asia. I finally started to hang it. After I sent my presents, I sent Keaton his stuff. I sent some stuff to our friend Tusker that she would really like. Now that I sent it, I can say I found in an antique shop in Yangzhou a photorealistic needlepoint Stalin picture. So I sent her that.
You grow hair, look like Stalin.
Well, you see, for obvious reasons, in all the communist countries, you see a lot of tributes to Russian communists. Dominic D'Angelo, enjoyed you guys outing the content juds over the Odyssey. I can't believe some of the out-of-pocket racist shit those people say. Well, you know what, man? I really, now that we have extra time, I really want to do a shit post about this because I did get a lot of questions because I interviewed Gary on Jimmy, and I would like to do a shit post explaining it's basically the same thing as what happened with the douchebag dialogues. Once I saw there's an agenda being pushed that has nothing to do with the claimed agenda, that was when I took a different attitude. DD AI bot. Hey guys, I am the unofficial DD AI bot here to answer all of your questions. P.S. I can even convert inches to metric. For example, 15 inches equals 38.1 centimeters. Oh, you see? So
Thank you.
Now on, I can say Miriam gave me 38.1 centimeters.
Can you donate $500 on the next super chat?
Can you?
Are you capable? Are you
then,
able
and
to
then
do that?
translate it?
Yeah.
Deepood. You guys into Ben Swan's reporting? I do not know who that is, so that would be a no. And okay,
I've heard of him. I forget who he is.
All right, so
let's take Landrews before.
Yeah,
we got a big one.
I was about to.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again. Free Palestine, and we will all be free. Thank you, Landrew.
Thank you, Landrew. It's very nice of you, as always. Appreciate that, my friend.
I will find your sound drop while Keaton does this thing.
All right, and actually, before we go to Landrew's sound drop, we have a sound drop here. It sounds kind of cheesy because we had to compress it for time, but we're at 24:25, above 21:12, and since Russ is seeing Rush this week, we have this sound drop. Yeah, it was too. It was too long.
I think it's better that way, actually.
Yeah. There you go.
That's what, if I get to talk to them, I'll tell them.
You should play it faster.
I mean, honestly, what I want to do is go around just with a straight face and ask Rush fans how they feel about the rumors that Neil Peart's final wish was that he not be replaced by a woman.
Yeah, right. Exactly, yeah.
Do you think there's any truth to that he said that on his deathbed?
All right, more rock and roll. 677 in the like column. There we go. We're at 679 in the like column. 648 watching over on Rumble. 2452 watching in the YouTube rooms. We are almost up over 2525. Thanks, everybody, for being here. All right, while you're looking for Landrew's stuff, I'm going to read some Rumble rants. Everything's a scam, everything's a lie, everything's hypocrisy, and so you don't comply. Thanks, Vientikis. Appreciate that. Professor Brown, Russ's Turchin interview was cool. Spasiba. DD should do a whole show in thick Russian accent. Do this in Yansi. 2 shelves of same babushka. Thank you. Yeah.
That's honestly one of the best parts of this gig is getting to talk to people that you admire. And, just hearing their thoughts. Turchin's one of those people.
I am Landrew. Landrew is dead.
One of the best parts of this gig for me is letting Russ talk to people I'm too stupid to talk to. That's one of the best. That's one of the most rewarding parts of the gig for me is not sitting in on interviews I'm not qualified to conduct. Yes, that's a real privilege. It was an honor for me to not do that. Actually.
It was an honor for you not to take part in
have
that
to do that. Yes, it was an honor for me not to have to prepare for that interview. I was really honored. I was really moved by that. Proud Hans Penny. Most of the punk rockers in the early 90s scene worked at Taco Bell in Kensington. If what we did to the food didn't kill anyone, Mexican lettuce won't. Oh, yeah, we got a MAHA segment coming up later. That's a fun one. Abiding. Michael Tracy and Ryan Grimm have been perennial champion masochists on X, but anyone still defending Pentagon weapons effectiveness is one hell of a challenger. Thank you for that, Abiding. I might not survive Tuesdays without DD. Consider the guest host. Perhaps Michael Tracy is available. Yeah, that'd be a great idea. That'd be a great idea. Thanks for. We will run that by him. We'll see. Hey, do you want to?
I'm bringing him to see Rush. I heard they're doing the entire Moving Pictures album. This is going to be great.
Yeah, I have an extra ticket. Vientikis Prime. Don't call him Secretary Dick Breath. That's an insult to people with dick breath. Some people call him Kegs Breath, but that's not Max calls him the DUI hire, not Kegs Breath. We Sids are ashamed of Rosenberg. He's even worse than Sids. Ha! Thanks, Siddhartha Vicious. Appreciate that very much. All right, let's move right on along. All right, folks. So this video has been making the rounds. This went viral for pretty good reason. A bunch of people tweeted it out, Alex Jones being one of them. This reached 1 million views off his Twitter account alone, but a lot of people have been sharing this because this video really is damning to watch in light of what Trump Term 2 turned out to be. So here's a montage of Donald Trump on the campaign trail promising not to do the very things he is now doing.
Want to squander all of America's strength, blood, and treasure, chasing monsters and phantoms overseas. In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad. We should have never gone into the Middle East. We should have never gone into the Middle East. Under my leadership, we will turn the page forever on those foolish, stupid days of never-ending wars. We're rebuilding our military stronger than ever before, and we are not going to deplete it again on stupid, senseless, endless wars. World War III has never been closer than it is right now. We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America last globalists and the deep state. I am the president who delivers peace. I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. And the worst, most incompetent, most corrupt president in history is going to drag us into World War III. And this horrible, horrible president is dragging us toward World War III. We're going to be in World War III soon. Because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran. Large sections of the Middle East. I mean, look at the death and destruction that's taken place. And none of this would have happened if I were president. Our opponents join with warmongers and neocons to wage endless wars, these wars that never end. Together we're fighting to secure our borders, end the endless foreign wars, and defend the working people of America. But the Muslim and Arab voters in Michigan and across the country want a stop to the endless wars and a return to peace in the Middle East. That's all they want. Speaking of World War III, I'll keep you out of World War III. What would happen if we had a war? We won't, with me, but you will have World War III, I believe, without me, but we won't have. I will be sure that World War III will not happen. I'm the only one can say it won't happen. But I stand here today, and I'm the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent, and very easily, World War III, very easily.
I will very easily prevent World War III. That's his CPAC speech at the Gaylord Convention Center. So, yeah, good job by Patriot Takes for editing that together. Shout out to them. A lot of people shared that. One thing they didn't include, though, was this most recent. This is as president. This was on Inauguration Day. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but by the wars that we end and wars we never get into.
Our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, a lot of betrayal in the air. A lot of betrayal in the air. And the polls now are just really looking especially dire. Trump's policies are making you worse off 58, better off 13. 13% say Trump's policies are making you better off. You don't see that very often. Should America end the Iran war now? Yes, 67. No, 33. New Pew poll, Trump's net approval among 57 subgroups, overall 34% to 64% disapprove. Underwater by double digits among white people. Blacks minus 70, Hispanics minus 49, Asian minus 48. And Democrats really doing a bang-up job, only able to capitalize 6 points off of that. You would think. The same poll. This is the same exact poll. Trump underwater by 30, Democrats up by 6. You would think if you had a real opposition party, they'd be up at least a dozen with the president 30 points underwater. But no, that's about the extent to which they're capable of capitalizing. Even that, though, is quite significant. New Fox News poll, Democrats 53, Republicans 46 on the generic ballot. This is the highest either party has hit in the generic ballot since 1996 in the Fox News poll. In counties where Trump and Harris were within 10 points, Democrats lead 59-41, almost a 20-point margin. But if you ask Trump how he's faring in these polls, he'll tell you he's doing just fine. You know, Laura Loomer and Volodymyr Zelensky did an interview in Ukraine, which some of you may have mistaken for the Calypso scene in the upcoming Elon AI Odyssey, but no, she was actually there. That was a few days ago. That actually happened. That was actually real.
I finger blast Laura Loomer is like alien. Finger come back just bone.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. But that is indicative of just how malleable, shall we say, the MAGA influencers are, because now they're starting to come around on the Ukraine war too, just going in for that whole globalist agenda, which he railed against so eloquently in that 2.5-minute montage. So he's asked about this. He's asked about, hey, now your base is not only all in for Israel, but they seem all in for Ukraine now. How do you explain this? And he gives a refreshingly honest Trump-like answer, which is they support what I support. Basically, they just do what I tell them.
You reposted Lara Loomer's interview with President Zelensky. What do you make of growing MAGA support for the war in war in Ukraine? Sorry.
Well, I think they support what I support. We just had a complete win in Arizona. The young gentleman who's Harry Enton, I believe his name is, the pollster, said Trump's 100% favorable. He gets everybody endorses wins, which is pretty much true. Everyone I endorse, just about, wins. So there's
still latching on to that CNN poll that said 100% of MAGA Republicans support him, and he cites that. It doesn't mention that's among MAGA Republicans. CNN said, I have 100% support among CNN. That's great.
Between me and MAGA, but I'm the one that created MAGA, and I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. MAGA knows what.
I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else. They want my cock in their mouth. A lot of these men in MAGA, that's what they want, and I know it. I know it. They
did a poll of overweight men with type 2 diabetes. I'm at 97%.
Yeah,
with
they
that
have dreams about me.
demographic.
They have dreams about me spraying hot cum in their mouth, and then they wake up in a cold sweat looking over at their wives who they're no longer interested in. They get up, they go to the bathroom mirror, they look at themselves, and they cry because they want me. That's what they want. That's what they want more
me.
than anything.
There's just not enough for me to go around.
It's just not enough for me to go around. And fellas, I appreciate it, but I didn't spend all that time at Studio 54 for nothing. If I were into that, I would have gone to the Rangers locker room. But that's not me. It's not me, fellas. He is the straightest of the MAGAs.
If you were to see my ass, you would know that it's property of Miriam Adelson. It says it right there.
Yeah, I know what they want.
MAGA wants, and MAGA is very happy. They want to see this done, and they're not going to be happy if it's not done. Make America great again. It's all about make America. We started that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
But the concept of not approving voter ID or
yeah, okay, and have to go to voter ID because, of course, that's what the numbers are. But yeah, man, I mean, you look back at this montage, and we remember covering a lot of these speeches and videos as they happened. So that montage was a real trip down memory lane. And I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this sort of like big picture analysis of just how so many people got duped by this. Part of it is, and Jimmy talks about this. Hey, he was saying this whereas Kamala Harris was promising no policy change toward Israel and promising to agitate for World War III with Ukraine. So, like, to a certain extent, you can't blame people for taking a chance on it. But, the reason I was so pessimistic about this and the reason why looking back on it, you just see what a con this was. As a tour guide, getting to talk to like people from, all over the country for many, many years. And even in going up to New Hampshire and covering the primary, going to see all these, real patriotic Americans go out to watch Nikki Haley and Dean Phillips rally and talk about, the ideals of this great country of ours. The American people have a sort of like childlike innocence about them. There is a gullibility about them and an innocence about them to the point where I don't think they really anticipated or have an understanding of the shamelessness of the elites. because we live in a hyper-capitalist country, to climb to the top of any real space, be it politics or finance, requires a certain competitiveness, which breeds a certain ruthlessness, which breeds a certain shamelessness. And I think like ordinary people are really surprised that someone could be so shameless as to just say one thing for years on end and then take all the goodwill that he's been entrusted with and just do the other thing. You know, like in my experience with Americans, they have this very sort of like endearing simplicity about them. You know, I don't like, calling people simple can be mistaken for an insult. I don't mean it in an insulting way. They are a simple people in the sense that they tend to be pretty straightforward. And I think they tend to give people the benefit of the doubt who don't deserve it. And of course, capitalism teaches you that if you're rich, you must have gotten rich by being good. And so you can't be this shameless a liar. But this guy is that shameless a liar. And he pulled the ultimate con at the ultimate moment on hundreds of millions of people. And here we are. And I think a lot of people in this country just don't view the system as being so corruptible as to allow for this kind of con to take place. But it has. And here we are. We're living with it.
Well, this is why they spend so much time trying to paint a picture of a fantasy world where people of different economic classes have common interests when they don't. I mean, there's just core to Marxist theory, and it's just obvious whether you agree with the prescriptions of Marxism.
Right.
The idea that you do not have common class interests with the people at Mar-a-Lago. And when someone like Elon is sitting there talking about how he wants to get rid of federal workers because he really cares about you and how your money is spent, it's absurd on the face of it. And it's very obviously absurd if you take a moment to think about it. If you take a moment to look at their actions, do you see them do anything to help normal people? No. It's very strange. Everything they do that's supposed to help normal people ends up gutting 8 of the agencies that are investigating Elon, right? How did you benefit from Doge? You didn't. Even the federal budget didn't. By a lot of estimates, it cost money because they had to hire so many people back. It just messed up the whole system. That's never what it was about. If you just took that basic principle from the beginning, you could have saved yourself a lot of time. You don't even have to think about it. What a guy like Elon Musk says about helping me is a lie, inherently. We do not have common interests. My class interests are inherently in conflict with his class interests. It's really not any more complicated than that. Look at Donald Trump. He's a rich kid from a rich family. You have no common interests with Donald Trump. And you have no common interests. That's just not, that's not just him. Most of the people in Congress are millionaires. Some of them are billionaires. You don't have common interests with the people who govern you. You don't have common interests with any of these people. These people are aristocrats by a different name. You are peasants by a different name. You have no common interests with these people. Anything they tell you about how they want to help you, you should just regard that as a lie and dismiss it out of hand.
Well, yes. I mean, that is just sort of like, you know, a basic worldview, which I think is self-evident and self-explanatory. I never even considered that at all controversial. I mean, they might chalk this up to like woke Hollywood, but like every G-rated movie.
Jealous?
Every G-rated movie when you're a kid is about the poor downtrodden people having to fight against the rich people, right? If it, you know, Aladdin, against the Sultan or whatever.
They subvert it, because if you look at the Lion King, there's also a lot of propaganda where the villain is anyone who questions the social order.
Well, but the Lion King is,
aristocrats and elites are elevated as right. But anyone who's preserving the social order is right. Anyone who's challenging it is villainous and wrong. That's something you're programmed with very subtly in a lot of these morality tales.
Well, I mean, the Lion King is Hamlet, but basically, I mean, when you look at just the average story, the poor are usually the virtuous, and it's usually the rich who are scheming to keep
And the
poor
Lion King,
down.
look at those hyenas with the urban accents, right?
Yeah. Once again, Hamlet. Lion King is Hamlet. That's
partly, not
no,
entirely.
It's basically. I mean, it's inspired by
no.
Hamlet.
Look at your James Bond. Look at your Marvel movies. Look how often.
Well, that's a little different.
Look at how often the villains monologue, their big monologue, explain themselves, is somehow questioning the social order. And that's what makes them the villain, right?
I mean, we could go through film by film here. We can be here all night. But I mean, just like generally,
well, that's what we're gonna do, man.
Inherent.
Brew some coffee, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna start. We're gonna start with Dr. No.
Yeah, exactly. No, generally, like, class conflict is kind of embedded in a lot of storytelling. It's something I picked up as a kid without any indoctrination or anything like that. It just seems self-evident. But in this case, where you have just the absolute, just brazen line, then this guy has the fucking balls to come and say, well, I never promised no new wars. No, I never promised that. You just said 2.5 minutes there.
Right.
2.5 minutes there. But it's too late. I remember one guy telling me from South Carolina, this guy is a very nice guy. He says, Donald Trump, I think he'd be a good president because he's got the money. I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? I didn't say that to him because I'm working for tips. But I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? He's got the money. What he means is that if he's smart enough to make money for himself, it must mean that he's smart enough to run the country.
But he didn't make it for himself.
And he must be a nice enough guy to do a good job at it because he got rich and that makes him a good person. Like, that is a level of brainwashing that breeds a certain gullibility to the point where people are surprised when a thing like this happens. Now, the caveat, once again, in defense of the plebes here, is that the Democrats were straight out promising more genocide and more war in Ukraine. Like, they were just coming out and saying none of this is going to change. So all he had to do was lie, and it was good enough. But it doesn't make it any less of a lie. It's I think, probably the most shameless lie in modern political history, to repeat every chance you get for years on end that you're not going to start a disastrous Middle East war, and then you go ahead and you do it right away. Just absolutely outrageous. All right, let's move right on along. You want to take some of those super chats?
Sure. Comrade Cranky, justice for the beautiful little children of Gaza, free Palestine. It's a beautiful sentiment, man. Thank you. Saucer, I'm trying to replicate what Jose Vega is doing in NYC. I've started talking to people who have run progressive races in my area. Hashtag justice for Palestine.
Thank you.
Thank you,
man.
Syphilitic Royals.
Syphilitic Royals.
Super sticker.
I like that.
That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
Interrobang 5000. Wow, guy, that was vivid. LOL. Which part?
I guess the gay jokes. Those
Yeah.
tend to be the most vivid portions of the show.
Wait till we get to my MAHA segment. Deep Green VO. Black Panther is prime example of how they portrayed Killmonger as the villain, even though he's right. Yeah. Well, that's what was so interesting about The Dark Knight, right? Because that was the most explicitly opaque in terms of who the villain was in that movie. That's what made it so interesting. And of course, the Batman mythos lends itself to that interpretation because it's built in. Because Batman is very much like the people he fights. All of his villains have been traumatized into adopting a persona just like him.
Right.
He's just sublimated it in a different direction.
Right.
So the Joker's take on him, no, you're not like them. You're like me.
Right.
That's kind of built into the Batman mythos, but Nolan was the first one who really ran with that.
Yeah, and that whole scene in the
film
in the detention center was amazing for that reason. Yeah, for sure. Ben Cohen says, I can't believe D truly believed Trump being talked into this war crimes by Fox News. No, I didn't say he was being talked into them. I said they clearly put people out there to cheerlead him on at a moment of doubt. They did that with Lindsey Graham. Trump is blackmailed so badly he's willing to sacrifice Americans to die, and they're boasting about calling the shots. Well, yeah, no, I agree. I agree. But every time he kind of waffles, you notice they do a propaganda blitz on Fox News. That's how they got the war off the ground. They sent Lindsey Graham out there for like days on end. He was on like every show. We covered this. Like they would not take him off of the TV. He was there, talking to Trump through Fox News. But no, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, he didn't need more coaching than whatever the Israelis got on him. How does someone like Gigi Allen and go to Russia? Where are they playing? The Garden? That's right, the Garden.
I like Gigi Allen. I have a morbid interest in Gigi Allen. I don't have like a Gigi Allen record collection here.
Right.
I have the Gigi Allen box set.
They're playing the Garden, right? Not Barclays.
Comes with petrified feces from his last Each Village show. They're doing. Yeah, it's the Garden. Yeah.
Caroline Bevy. Trump needs a dye job on that one's golden hair. Yeah, he's got to keep it going, like putting chlorine in a pool. All right. Shall we move right along?
Oh, look at this, man. We have some big Gigi Allen fans here. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that.
Well, look at that. Okay. All right. Well, we've spent some time on our friends in the GOP tonight. We're going to get around to the other side just because we want to show you. We got some people being like, because we think a rent freeze is probably a good thing for working people. And we're not going to like trash somebody because we don't like the Democrats who does a rent freeze. But, the Democrats are not good. Believe me, not good, as we will see here. So here's David Pakman on far left extremists hijacking the glorious Democratic Party.
The Democratic Party is showing the early signs of the same disease that destroyed the Republican Party. The
Republican Party has been almost continuously in control of at least 2 out of the 3 branches of government for about 20 years.
You mean the Republican Party that's running the country now?
Yeah, and they've completely decimated Democratic representation at the state level.
Back in 2010, their leaders laughed at the Tea Party. The left and Democrats can't make the same mistake. There is a small group of far left extremists gaining influence inside youth groups and party organizations. There was a college Democrats convention, which I was actually invited to participate in, and I couldn't make it.
Oh, I'm sure they were devastated.
Hassan Piker was dressed like Mao, and I guess Destiny tried to show up, and he was banned from entering allegedly because.
All right, that shows what you know. The convention was on the anniversary of the release of the Sgt. Pepper's album. He was dressed up as Ringo on that cover. Okay, It was not Mao.
The Mao-dressed Piker didn't want him there. Republicans are going to put these clips everywhere. Like people seem crazy when they see this stuff, and they are going to abolish the police and abolish borders and abolish prisons and play them on a loop for 6 months. Democrats must act now and intelligently. The centrists don't really do anything, make very milquetoast fringe suggestions that you don't even really push for. Not working. Okay. This other thing of like end.
Well, isn't that because by definition, that's all they have to offer? Aren't you just describing centrism? Isn't it milquetoast by definition? What else would they talk about that wouldn't make them leftists? Right. Yeah.
Well, the thing about
it's Clintonism. It's school uniforms. What else are they going to talk about that's not going to piss off their donors?
Well, that's the thing. And like, if you're worried about the DSA destroying the Democratic brand nationwide heading into the midterms,
haven't you guys already done that?
Well, that's one thing. But also, the thing you should be doing is urging the so-called moderate Democrats to just co-opt the more popular parts of what the DSA are running on, which is what they're winning on, which is like Medicare for all. So like, let's say a normie Democrat supported Medicare for all, but didn't support abolishing prisons or whatever. Well, at that point, you neutralize the DSA right there, because at that point, people get to sign up for Medicare for all without the stuff that most people find to be unpalatable, right? So it's very easy. Just steal the parts of their platform that are good, and that neutralizes them, but they won't do that. They're going to force people to choose between neoliberalism and DSA. They're going to force that choice.
Well, because the people who actually fund them, and as we will see, fund David Pakman, don't like that messaging.
Exactly.
Everything, it's a sort of destructive accelerationism. That's also not going to work. So I think that what we need here are no apologetics for dictatorship, no apologetics for authoritarianism, no harassment.
So does that include Benjamin Netanyahu? No apologies for dictatorship, authoritarianism? I asked Rachel Maddow that question. I got dragged out of a synagogue.
No anti-Semitism, no allowing online factions to decide which liberals may enter the room. You know, what would I even have been allowed at that college Democrats thing? They invited me months ago. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't go, so we didn't find out. I've said before,
no, they were going to bar you.
I don't care about the Democratic Party beyond who offers the better candidates, and usually it's Democrats over Republicans. But we've got to make sure that we don't allow that party, if it is the vessel, at least for now, to something better than what Republicans are offering, to be hijacked.
So get James Clyburn to support Medicare for all, and you're done. That's it. It's over. DSA is done at that point, but they won't do it.
Well, and David Pakman has a personal financial interest. Correcting the record with guillotines. That's a nice screen name. Well, this is awkward. So what's awkward? So David Pakman put out a bunch of tweets. I would like to, this is 2020. I would like to talk to an influencer paid to promote any candidate this election cycle. Trump, this is 2024. Trump is claiming the people at Kamala's rallies have been paid to attend. LOL. This guy is failing hard. Okay, well, Taylor Lorenz, this was kind of the beginning of her redemption arc here. A dark money group is secretly funding high-profile Democratic influencers. An initiative aimed at boosting Democrats online offers influencers up to $8,000 a month to push the party line. All they have to do is keep it secret and agree to restrictions on their content. So this was it's about a year ago now, August 27, 2025. And included in her report is none other than David Pakman. So Pakman is being paid. So when he says he doesn't care about the Democratic Party, that's probably true, but he cares about getting his check, $8,000 a month. These people, you'd be amazed how cheap they are, man. You'd be amazed how little money it takes to buy these people's opinions. Zainab Day. Oh my God. Demanding universal health care, living wages, and housing as a right somehow makes us equivalent to the white nationalist Tea Party, according to Pakman. Well, you know, whatever they pay him to say, right? Now, I want to just mention this by contrast. So there's the Washington Times, which presumably has written a critical article about DSA, given their bent ideologically. Millennials Megan Romer and Ashik Sadiq are driving the rapid expansion of the Democratic Socialists of America, which now counts over 120,000 members and 250 elected officials. So, hey, you know, I know right now there's the Green Party convention going on, and our friends Nick and Rome are there. Some very respectable activists are taking part in that. DSA has obviously gone another way. They've decided to try to use the machinery of the Democratic Party, and they are, because of economic circumstances, having some success. Now, Peter Turchin, who I had the opportunity to interview the other day on Jimmy Dore's show, he talks about this. This is part of his whole theory of history, that when the elite class, when the children of the elite class don't have enough opportunities in the economy, they don't have enough professional opportunities, enough opportunity to advance themselves, to build wealth. They become counter elites, what he calls counter elites. Mamdani is a good example of this, of an avatar of the counter elites. Everybody points out he grew up very wealthy, very privileged. His father's a Columbia professor. His mother's a very successful film director. So why does he have these policies? Well, you know, not just putting it on him personally, but for his generation, the math ain't mathing, and they're becoming counter elites. And Turchin says this is a something you see across societies and over thousands of years, going back to ancient civilizations, where they start to get. He was laying out examples from ancient Rome of that kind of instability driven by lack of opportunity for elites. So here's actually Fox News talking about this, and what this guy's saying, I don't disagree with. I mean, I looked at the numbers. He's right.
Sweet spot for the Democratic Socialist is a highly educated person with a graduate degree who is not making very much money, who is in the $30,000 to $60,000 range. So highly educated, lower income. That is a real sweet spot for the DSA, and the idea is perhaps they are bitter about the way things have gone in their life. Perhaps they're they're ideological and have chosen some field of work that will not be very rewarding, but might have bigger social impact. In some ways, they're a different and smaller group than Democrats as a whole.
All right, that's all true. That's all true. Now, these counter elites for whom the economy is not working actually do have counterparts who are elite elites. They're still out there and they're still very much in charge. And there was just a whole ass article about them. There's Glenn. That was actually how I found this article. He pointed it out. This article about a new group of affluent millennial white women in Manhattan, including Antony Blinken's niece. I think they updated the article later because a lot of people said niece, but now if you look up the article, it says cousin, so I think that's wrong. Forming a little political club to reestablish centrism within the Democratic Party is an absolute must read. Every paragraph is worse than the one that preceded it. He's not kidding. He's not kidding. It was hard to decide what to use because it was just all so cringe. Inside the elite social club for politically homeless Democrats. Yeah, no, the centrists have really been driven out on a rail. A group of educated, well-dressed women are meeting monthly in Manhattan to discuss how they can support the people without being a far left progressive.
You can tell how seriously they're taking this. They're meeting monthly. It's a real emergency. Yeah, going to meet once a month. Yeah,
it's a real, yeah. Things are really bad for these women.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm going to mention this up top. There is a little debate online about whether the writer is intentionally lampooning them or clueless, because there is a certain tradition of the Maureen Dowd interviewing Nancy Pelosi and talking very ironically about how fabulous her expensive outfit and shoes are without realizing how that sounds. So this article could be that. I suspect not. I suspect this writer is a secret counter elite who got access by posing as an elite. But well, if we don't know. Speaking of, Nancy Pelosi spent decades navigating Washington politics. Last June, she found herself navigating something entirely different. The Door at High Lot, a Lower East Side bar known for its long lines and sequin-clad crowd. So it sounds like straight, but you'll see. The 86-year-old former Speaker of the House wasn't there for the cocktails, waterbed, or thumping disco music, though. She was there for Juno.
She wasn't there for Run the Jewels night. No.
She wasn't there for the gourmet ice cream. Not this time. A private members club for young Democratic women, Juno was founded in 2024 by friends and former colleagues Ellen Gutman and Lily Patrikoff. Members pay between $2,500 and $5,000 a year, with all the funds directed to federal and state Democratic campaigns. Rather than spending their money on a Soho House membership or Soul Cycle classes, the 60 members of Juno have access to monthly dinners with elected officials, candidates, or speakers. Some, of course, still do both. So far, you think, like, very often, like with Maureen Dowd, she's one of them, right? She's on board. But you'll see when you get into how she describes these people, she's either completely drunk the Kool-Aid to the point she doesn't get how this sounds, or she's satirizing them in a way that gives her plausible deniability when they call up to scream at her for making them look horrible. You decide. All right, so this is Soho House. I just want you to understand, because clearly she speaks the language, right? Like she makes all the right references. She understands the world that these women live in. I'd be surprised if she didn't come from a similar background herself, the writer of the article. So to give you an idea what that is, all right, so you could pay $950 quarterly, but it's 50%. They encourage a younger creative set. They want that young, hip, cool. So 50% discount. You have to be, and that's only up until your 30th birthday. You have to be recommended by 2 members of the club. And of course, there's a committee that decides if you get in. It's not automatic. It also functions as a hotel.
You have to be mentioned in the Epstein files at least 8 times.
Well, they're a little young for that, actually.
I kid.
Yeah, this is a meatpacking district conversion. They converted a warehouse into this place. Gutman, 36, and Patrikoff, 30, believe Democrats have overlooked a generation of young women eager to engage politically, but who feel alienated by both the party establishment and the growing influence of democratic socialism in New York. The idea is that financing a new cohort of largely unknown candidates will also reshape the Democratic Party down the line, producing a more moderate class of leaders. So the current incarnation of the Democratic Party is not moderate enough for these women. Quote, "This is a group of people who are not far left and mostly feel politically homeless," Gutman said. "They see the mayor's office and they don't really identify as that Democrat," she added, referring to the New York City's Democratic Socialist mayor, Zoran Mamdani. Patrikoff studied classics at Dartmouth and named the organization after the Roman goddess who was the supreme patroness of women, and also served as a guardian and protector for the safety of the empire. In many ways, she embodies the role they envisioned for themselves. "Money is in politics, and it's unfortunate and kind of gross, and we wish it wasn't," said Gutman, "but they've decided to accept reality. Old men move money," she added. "But women have money, and they've never been asked to wield it in a way that is strategic and impactful, and that they feel invited into these rooms." Gutman paused and then added with a smile, "This is our proverbial golf course, right?" Among Juno's members is Allegra Sitak, 32, the cousin of Antony Blinken, who served as Secretary of State under President Biden. Quote, "Everything started getting so polarizing that I felt a little more scared," she told me. "Juno feels like a safe place to discuss your beliefs and understand what's happening." Now, you get some people like Nicolas Cage who want to make it on their own steam. His actual name is Coppola. He's Coppola's nephew. Then you got people who decide to change their name to connect themselves to their more famous relative. So Sitak goes by Blinken Sitak on LinkedIn. And no shyness about cashing in on that. Described growing up in a family steeped in Democratic history, where discussing politics was a fixture on vacations in Sun Valley, Idaho, where the family have a house. It's a very upscale part of Idaho, by the way. This particular evening, she wore a top from Paris, that's in quotes, a Cartier bracelet, and trousers from Love Shack Fancy. Asked where she spends time in New York, she reeled off the Odeon, the Carlisle Hotel, and Monkey Bar, but said she no longer belonged to any traditional members clubs. I used to be, but I'm not anymore, she said, swaying her long brown silky hair. There's my type of membership club, and I'm doing something more impactful. This where it's like, well, is the writer taking the piss or not? It's really hard to know.
Right.
Ashley Spivey, a 41-year-old political activist, influencer, and former contestant on The Bachelor, said one future politician she was hopeful about was Maddie Doctry, who is running for re-election to the Maine State Senate. She owns a lot of bars and has implemented paid family leave, Spivey said. They're doing things that help the average American and doing it in a way that doesn't seem like far left progressive, and they're still one of the people. All right, so I had to know. So this is they own bars but they're not far left. They're one of the people. So I had to know. So I looked it up. So this is her idea of like one of the people, right? Doctry was born in Brunswick and raised in a political active family who involved her in volunteering and voter registration. She remembers an early interest in politics and describes campaigning on Main Street in Brunswick to be president of the United States when she was 6. Doctry's godmother was a state representative when Doctry was young, and Doctry worked as a page for her godmother at the State House. Well, sounds like just folks to me. Doctry attended the Maine Coast Waldorf School and Brunswick High School, enrolling in classes at Bowdoin College while she was a student at BHS. She continued to Smith College, where she majored in studio art with a focus in photography and sculpture. Yeah, just folks, man. Just folks.
Nice.
While at Smith, Doctry worked as a freelance photojournalist at the Times Record in Brunswick and trained with Paul Cunningham. Aspiring to work as an NPR on-air personality, she founded and ran the news department at Smith Student Radio Station, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's look at some of the numbers. So the Maine Coast Waldorf School, that'll cost you about $26,000 to send your kid there. Send them there for primary school. That's where she went for primary school. How about Bowdoin? That'll cost you about $100,000 a year to go to that college. How about Smith? Smith, the total build cost will run you about $95,000, including housing and meals. Just folks. She's like one of the people because she owns bars. So, she can just be like, for the people, but not like that far left kind of for the people.
Yeah.
This is their idea of for the people. They want their when they say the party is doesn't represent them, it's a generational thing. They just want younger people. They just want people more their age. That's it. What else could you possibly mean if this is your idea of what you want to replace Nancy Pelosi with? She's younger. That's all. They want people from their class who are younger. The founders also want to inject some energy, fun, and glamour back into the party. Gutman came from the world of conferences and live events, having worked at TED and Summit Series, while Patrikoff spent time on the Hill in various campaigns. Politics also runs in her family. Oh, what a surprise. Her grandfather, Alan Petrikoff, was an investor and significant Democratic fundraiser, acting as the national finance chairman for Hillary Clinton's 2000 New York Senate race.
Yeah, politics runs in my family too. That's why I'm here doing this. I'm not owning bars.
I come from a long line of loudmouth crackpots.
I come from a long line of moderately informed cranks, and the technology just happened to collide with my prime earning years, and so this is my destiny from coming from a family who was into politics. I don't own 8 bars and have a membership at the Soho House.
She owns a brewery, which is really like working class. They have noticed how the MAGA movement has become adept at turning politics into a social scene, hosting parties and events filled with unabashed young conservatives in glitzy dress. A viral example of this was captured right after Trump's second election by a New York magazine cover entitled "The Cruel Kids Table." Most of you probably saw that. That's what they're talking about. This article made the rounds not long after the election. When the Hitler Youth parties that these guys have been having in New York since before Trump got elected, actually. When I asked how young people on the left could attract that kind of cultural visibility, this is the money shot, guys. Spivey was dismissive. I think all of us here are very confident, and we don't have to promote ourselves as being at those types of parties. That's the difference between old money and new money. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? These are they're for the people. These people who their real problem with those people is their new money. They're gauche. They're gauche. We have always said this, man. The biggest problem that the Democrats always had with Trump was that he was gauche. His tweets were mean. Right? George Bush said, lay off the Muslims, right? He didn't embarrass people like that. You can kill all the Muslims you want, but you can't say mean things about them in public. It's very gauche. John Schwartz. Everybody, there's an exciting new New York organization called the Juno Fund. It was founded by young Democratic women and is full of dynamic activists devoted to making sure no one criticizes their uncle for committing genocide. Yeah.
Yep.
Cousin, as it turns out. You can read the entire article about the Juno Fund, the Times of London. It's hard to tell if the author made everyone involved look awful on purpose or by accident. So I would highly recommend this article. I couldn't include everything. I didn't want to drag out the segment. There was one woman who literally said, she makes $250,000 a year, and she's quoted saying, I don't have fuck around money. I mean, I do, but I don't. just the most horrible people. So you have to remember, even though they're framing it as we're the outsiders, these are the insiders. These are the people who own the Democratic Party. At most, there's a generational conflict here. At most, there's no ideological daylight between these women and Nancy Pelosi or James Clyburn or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. I'm sure they all love Kamala Harris, actually. She's a little on the younger side for them. That's they want their peers to take up these positions. They're probably a little frustrated that these old mummies like Nancy Pelosi won't let go of the reins of power. That's all this is. It's not, there's no ideological problem. They are in deep opposition to the counter elites represented by DSA, which that's why I wanted to play that Fox clip. Because, yeah, man, these are people who are of their class who, for whatever reason, didn't get ahead. And it turned them into counter elites. These are people who clearly are from that class who are doing fine. So for them, they're looking at the DSA people and saying, no, that's not me. What is wrong with you guys? What are you doing? Right? That's the conflict. This is something else Turchin talks about. When you have these civil wars, according to his theories, and I think he's right, civil wars are a conflict between different branches of the elite. That's what this is. This is one branch of the elite. And then the DSA people are the counter elites. But yeah, those DSA numbers that they're mostly white, they have double the levels of college and grad school education. That completely backs up that theory. It's true. And this is the mean girls at school saying, God, I hate those guys. I'm not like those guys. I'm not with them. And they're just trying to maintain control of what they see as their private club. And their private club isn't just the Democratic Party. Their private club is this fucking country. It's this country, man. To them, they own it by right.
Yeah, and they have nothing in common with the experience of ordinary people, which is why, we showed you in the last segment, Trump's approval rating is 34%, yet Democrats are only up by a handful of points in the generic ballot. Like, if Trump is underwater 2-1, you should have at least a 12-point lead, but they don't. They have like a 6-point lead, which is still a solid lead, but it's half of what it would be.
That's
if
a desperation
you represented.
lead.
Yeah, exactly. It's half of what it would be if you represented people at all, not just people against the program of the Republican Party, but even people against the program of the DSA. Like, this is what's so insane. Like, if the Democrats would just say, all right, you know what? We'll give you fucking people health care. Just knock it off with the abolish the police shit. That would neutralize the DSA. DSA membership would evaporate overnight because they wouldn't be viable because people wouldn't go for that whole thing. Right. I'm saying if they followed through. Right. Exactly. Like if they adopted that as a sincere policy goal. If the Democratic Party got in with Gavin Newsom and Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, if the good old boys club got in and passed Medicare for all, they'd never hear from the DSA ever again. They would be a non-issue. I promise you they'd be a non-issue. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. So they forced this choice between the DSA, which has a lot of problems, I think. Like, I don't think the DSA's platform is a viable national platform with everything in it. I think there are parts of it.
You're not going to stop
could be
people from
adopted.
clapping at rallies.
Exactly.
It's
You're
not
not going to stop
happen.
people from the clapping, the transgender tourism stuff, and even like the abolish the police. I've interviewed prison abolitionists and police abolitionists. I understand the theory behind it, but it's not a viable political plank.
Sure. Right.
Right. And so, but you're forcing people into that choice by not pressuring. Like, if you really care about vanquishing the DSA people because they're icky and ugly, then why don't you take all that money and all those resources that you have, rather than meeting once a month and fantasizing about some Maine Senate lesbian bar owner that no one's ever heard of? Why don't you direct that attention to party leadership and say, hey, you know what? If we want to keep the socialists out, let's just come out for Medicare for all. Let's raise the minimum wage. That's how FDR kept socialism at bay. The New Deal was to save capitalism, not to dismantle capitalism. Like, that does not occur to these people because they don't live in the real world. They live in their own world. They live in their own world, and they make their own rules, and it's just really extraordinary to see. And yeah, every time you get a glimpse behind the curtain, it's both bizarre and hilarious, and also kind of creepy.
Yes.
I
would highly recommend reading that article in its entirety.
It's that Sunday Times. So was that a New York Times profile?
No, that's the London Times.
Oh, London Times. Okay.
No, they would never get that snarky in a New York Times profile of people like this. That's why it's not clear if they're making fun of it, because the New York Times writes tone-deaf articles like that all the time,
right,
about how hard it is for Brooklyn brownstone owners.
Right. Stoop sign. They killed Lindsey Graham. He shilled so hard for war, his anus ruptured like a Gaddafi. Stoop sign. Hey, I dip my toast in milk every morning for breakfast like a real fucking centrist, man. That's right. EO Shush. Watch Sneaks react and stream chat 99% positive. These unks are so refreshing. Sane-minded people love it. Well, W Unk. Why are they calling us Unk? Oh, these two Jews. Door is better and deport Keaton. Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I guess we are avuncular to the kids, right? I guess we come off as uncle types. Ugly old broad says stuff. Influencers wouldn't have the audience they do if people weren't so gullible these days. It makes my old fat boomer heart sad, except for when Keaton gets lit up. Makes my influencers wouldn't have the audience that people were. Oh, got it. Stoop sign. If Patrikoff isn't a lesbian, she's even more insufferable. Stoop sign. Sun Valley has 3 types of white privilege: powder, and skin. All right. You want to take some YouTube super chats?
Sure. Ooh, a lot of them racked up. Mr. De Silva, your president is loco. Thank God your beef is beautiful and the rest of the world is jealous of it. Not, well, especially with the screw worms, as we'll see later.
That's right.
Pseudo notice. Citizen Vigilante is the movie you want. LOL. Yeah, that was quite a film. Omer Bajrovic, sit down. Sorry, that was my dog. Yeah, What a fucking wacko. How do you do that on camera as a professional politician? How do you think that's going to play? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Exactly.
DC, Gigi Allen and the Jabbers were fantastic.
Like, you always kiss babies and pet puppies. That's politics
How do you
101.
scream at a dog
Yeah,
on
you can't
camera?
scream at a dog on camera.
Third rail, Dave Pakman is a Zionist. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, he's getting money from both ends. He's getting it from the DNC, from the Zionists. I know it's not much of a distinction, but two different pools of money he's getting paid from at least. Third rail, can you give my channel shout, please? I just came back streaming after fighting depression for 8 months. Well,
there you go.
Was
That's
that
the third rail.
American Me
There you go.
podcast? Well, there
Welcome
you go.
Back. It works out. So yin and yang. I'm about to go into a depression and take an 8-month hiatus. So there you go. The universe evens out, right?
Yep.
But
I'm gonna be doing the show with my
that's right.
My co-host here. He couldn't do any worse, right?
Yeah.
Look, the hair's not messy.
What's he saying? The Lion King is Hamlet.
Hello, I'm Robot. I love you.
Hello, I'm Robot.
Very agreeable. Very
Lion
agreeable.
King.
Not like this one.
Yes. Not like this one.
Kuznetsky Bassane, the Democrat Party is a corpse. Chris Hedges. Yep.
Yo, Chris Hedges gets a shout out in the new Strokes album. That's weird, huh?
You're kidding.
I'm going to review that probably this week. I'm going to start doing some more reviews now that I have a little more time. But yeah, that's a W for the Strokes. The album was not bad. I got to listen to it one more time. But yeah, he gets a shout out. Well, they're pretty based. They were a Bernie band and they're a Free Palestine band, right? Didn't they do the Coachella thing, or what music festival did they do something for Palestine at? Yeah, so that's not too surprising.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kuznetsky Bassane, the Patriot Interceptor is patched up 1970s tech. They only work occasionally and never intercept ballistic and hyperkinetic missiles. And the Patriot builds require rare earths from China.
All right.
I was just watching something about why they're kicking our ass with the AI thing. And part of it is that they rebuilt their entire power grid from scratch. And they built it such that it can move power more cheaply from one place to another, which makes it easier for them to build out AI throughout the country.
No, I think that one we still needed to. I think you only did one.
No, I just did it. Yeah.
Oh.
No, it was the Patriot missiles.
Oh, you did both? Okay.
Crime Stone, Keaton, if you're still looking for an album to listen to, can you give this a spin? Stayed Inertia, Anthems of Anthems, available on any platform. Not asking for a review, just desperate for a listen,
album.
like
All right.
an Odyssey chud.
Okay, I'll write it down. Stayed Inertia. There you go. Thank you.
You got it?
Yep.
Dmitry Mugianis. Dear sirs, I must strongly object to last week's anti-Hellenic programming as a proud Greek American. I have to say that I have hardly ever banged a sheep. Solidarity for Marl. All right. So I was going to, in the middle of the segment, I was going to tell this story, but then I stopped myself. So, yo, man, there really was this guy, Mr. Guido, who lived in my neighborhood. He was an old Greek guy. We'd all be hanging out, getting drunk. He partly inspired that riff. We became drunk. You go, the sheep is just like a woman. It is pink. What a pussy. It's true, man. I'm not trying to be anti-Hellenic. That's a true story, man. Our O-face. How is Rex so based with his dad, such a grifter? I don't know. We'll ask him that next time he comes on.
Yeah, be a good icebreaker.
We'll start with that. Race Car K. I always keep thinking about drills, i.e., a family will only use a drill for 1/10 its useful life. What if 10 families shared one drill instead? Well, you're a communist. The funds for 9 drills could be spent on other needs. Yeah, that's like Dr. Zhivago, where they say, this place could house 10 families. What the fuck?
Yeah. My baby likes to play with drills. We got him a toy tool set. By the way, I got to shout out my little guy. Augie's turning 2 years old tomorrow. Second birthday for little Augie boy. So happy birthday.
Mazel tov. Louise Brooks. Wait, the Jew No Fund? And P. Walker for the elite. Any compromise on anything would be treasonous to them. That's why they'll never offer Medicare for all or even minimum wage increase. Yeah, well, this is why I keep saying, man, as Keaton has pointed out, Elon voted for Joe Biden. Like, these people do not like the MAGA people. They like to see themselves as more sophisticated, as being tasteful, right? They don't like to identify with the beer drinkers, with the chuds. They want to identify with the elite upper classes who go to museums. Look how often these people like Elon, who clearly have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, start referencing Tacitus and classical text that they've obviously never read, just from what they're saying about it. They want to be part of that. They want to be part of that world. These Democratic women are much more where they're at home.
Of course.
But they figured out our bread is better buttered with these criminals who will basically do anything for $1 million donation than we are with these people who feel some need to see themselves as the protectors of the realm, right? As they name their club. They have those pretenses of wanting to see themselves as the good guys in that way.
Right.
All right, I'll do one more. P. Walker. I also believe the elites would even let the world burn before they allowed any compromise. Well, there's that too. All right.
All right. We'll go into your next piece in just a second. Just a quick word from our friends at Rumble Wallet. So quick question, folks. How much control do you have over your money right now? Because technology has changed everything in the economy, including the way money works. And Rumble is in on the action with Rumble Wallet, which takes all that complexity and makes it simple. You choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stablecoin, or even digital gold backed by real gold. There's no complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your credit card, your debit card, or your bank and be up and running in just minutes. It's very, very simple. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like us directly. We just got a tip in our Rumble wallet tip jar during this stream. So shout outs to whoever gave us that, got the alert on the phone. So that's awesome. So get started now. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description and download the Rumble wallet. From there, you can set your wallet up, tap buy, and get in the game. So scan that QR code on the screen or go to wallet.rumble.com to get started. Okay. All righty. Let's move right on along.
Okay. So, hey, the people of South Carolina were very relieved to find out that their 85-year-old congressman is seeking an 18th term. That would be James Clyburn.
His campaign signs are still very 1991. It's kind of charming, It looks very retro.
It's very retro. No, that's what people want in one of the poorest districts in America, which his district remains after 33 years in office. But here he is. Here he is showing how much he's got his finger on the pulse of what really concerns his constituents today.
AI. There's so much that it's changing in terms of the future of work and our economy. Do you use AI? Have you ever used an LLM?
No, somebody was telling me I ought to, but I never have.
No ChatGPT, no Claude for you?
Believe it or not, I didn't even know what that was until about a week ago.
Which one?
That's great.
ChatGPT or whatever it is.
It's a good
You
way
didn't know
to
until a week
show
ago.
how in
Wow,
touch you are
I'm
with-
jealous. You've got yourself in a bubble.
That may sound strange to you. I don't know. I didn't know what that was.
Okay, have you been to a data
last
center
week.
or anything like that? Or no? Okay. I guess I'm wondering, like, with the speed of technological changes right now, with how much people are anxious about the ways AI and work might change because of it, how do you effectively legislate as a member who is distant from some of those technological shifts that are affecting folks' lives right now?
I have a great staff. I wish I could know everything. I don't know everything. And I don't
In my
spend my
district,
time
the
trying to
Piggly
learn
Wiggly is
everything.
cash only.
What I spend my time doing is trying to surround myself with people who do know stuff. I know how to legislate. I know how to build relationships. And I hire people to bring knowledge into the game that I can put to practice.
All right. So this is Asted Herndon, who, as you'll see in the next clip, man, he's trying really hard to help Jim Clyburn not make a total asshole out of himself. But, you know, you can only work with what you have, and what he has is a total asshole. So he's just not going to let him bail him out. Here's another asshole, Ro Khanna. Jim Clyburn went to jail so that this country could have civil rights and so that my parents could come to America with the Immigration Reform Act. Many of the techies at OpenAI are here because of doors he opened. Show some respect and humility for a man who sacrificed more for justice than almost any tech whiz in my district. So here's what you got to remember with Ro, man. I mean, he does some stuff we all like. What he's been doing with Thomas Massie is great. But in the end, he's a dirty whore, and there's no way he would be able to represent Silicon Valley without them putting a lot of money behind a challenger if they didn't know that in the end, he's their boy, right? He's their boy. He's not really going to make any waves. So hang on. Out of one side of your face, Ro, you're trying to stop funding Israel, and on the other side of your face, you're going out of your way to defend this piece of shit. This piece of shit, who, like most of your colleagues, is on the take from AIPAC, taking that AIPAC money. But beyond that, to talk about Jim Clyburn as a civil rights leader is absolutely fucking absurd. It's absurd. Clyburn has taken more than $1 million. This is from 2018. God knows what he's taking now. In pharma money in a decade, far surpassing his peers. He's taken more pharma PAC money than anyone else in Congress. And not coincidentally, you might remember he was one of the most decisive voices because of the stranglehold, for whatever reason, he has over the voters that he's neglected, and I would argue straight out abused over the course of his 33-year career. He has such a stranglehold on them. All he has to do is point his thumb up or down and tell them how to vote, and they will. And he was one of the most vocal people against the Bernie Sanders campaign, which was running on Medicare for all, not coincidentally. You want to talk about this guy as a civil rights leader? Remember how Hillary Clinton ran against Barack Obama? You remember this? Clinton touts her support among whites. Hillary Clinton cited an AP article, quote, that found how Senator Obama's support among working, hardworking Americans, white Americans, is weakening again, and how whites in both states who had not completed college were supporting me. The poor whites love me. They don't like the black one. They don't want to vote for the black one. You remember how they released photos of him in African garb? Ran one of the most racist campaigns. Bill Clinton dismissed his campaign wins in the South as being like Jesse Jackson, right? Just this racist campaign.
Oh, they literally darkened his skin in the TV.
They darkened his skin in TV ads. There's Jim Clyburn, man, endorsing Hillary Clinton, who ran a racist campaign against the person who went on to be the first black president. How about Biden? Biden doubles down on segregationist comments. I forgot this part. Remember, because all the people running against him, like Cory Booker, came out and said he should apologize, but didn't say he should apologize to me. Wow, man, that takes stones. So to remind you, he was talking about the segregationists he used to work with. And he said, I was in a caucus with James O. Eastland. He never called me boy. He always called me son. At least there was some civility. We got things done. We didn't agree on much of anything. We got things done. We got it finished. But today you look at the other side and you're the enemy. Not the opposition, the enemy. We don't talk to each other anymore. Okay, so what did he work with them on? You could almost say it's complicated if what they worked on was like healthcare legislation or family leave or cheaper drugs, you could almost say, well, that's complicated. What do you do? Not work with those people to help poor people who need that help? No, man, he worked with them on the fucking crime bills that incarcerated black people. That's what he worked with them on. That's what the civility is. His crime bill was so extreme, Reagan thought it was too extreme when it was presented to him. He thought it went too far. That's what he's waxing nostalgic about. That stopped Jim Clyburn? Nope. Biden wins crucial Jim Clyburn endorsement. Ro Khanna is going to go up there and talk about this piece of fucking garbage as a civil rights figure. As a civil rights figure. This guy has never seen a fucking cracker racist politician that he didn't want to endorse as long as they were against Medicare for all, because that's what he gets paid, to make sure that the poor people in his district never get that relief. I actually responded to this. Roe always goes right back to factory Democrat settings. After 33 years in office, Jim Clyburn's district remains the 6th or 7th poorest in the country. He's also taken more money from pharmaceutical PACs than any other member of Congress. Not coincidentally, he was one of the loudest voices raised against both the Sanders campaigns, even as those campaigns championed policies that his constituents need more than most. Clyburn isn't the first activist to find out the money is on the other side, but to define Clyburn by his civil rights activism is like defining Hitler by his World War I service. The man has not only not helped the people in his mostly black and brown district, he's actively worked to make their lives worse. Mm-hmm. So, hey, man, Roe does some things that I'll always, just like with Mamdani, man, like when Mamdani does something I like, I'm not going to attack him because I don't like what he represents or I don't trust him in another way. I don't like that he's a Democrat. Same thing with Ro Khanna, man. I mean, he's doing some good stuff with Massie, but don't forget who Ro Khanna is. This is who he is. In the end, he's a company man. He always goes back to factory settings.
Yeah, and I guarantee when Ro Khanna runs for president, James Clyburn will endorse the most right-wing Democrat he can over Ro Khanna.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is not buying you any goodwill from James Clyburn here. He's going to fuck you over anyway.
This is what I don't get. Why would you go out of your way?
Yeah.
Why would you go out of your way for this piece of shit? This piece of shit, this horrible, corrupt politician who has sold out the black people who trusted him to represent them for the last 33 years. Why? You just don't say anything. You don't have to say anything.
I just don't say anything.
But this was the clincher, man. This was the clincher. So here's Clyburn talking about why Kamala lost. And you can see the interviewer watch. The interviewer tries to bail him out. Nope.
You take from the Biden administration? Like political lessons. Like, was there any political lesson you think there is to take from an administration whose central goal was to stop Donald Trump's return? And here we are.
And he stopped it.
I mean, you stopped it and enabled, I think some would argue.
Well, when the white vote turned out 71% 2 years ago, and the black vote turned out 59%, you tell me whose fault that is.
I guess
only 59% of African Americans went to the polls 2 years ago.
It's tough for me personally to blame black voters for the last election more than it is to blame President Joe Biden.
That's the fact. It wasn't Joe Biden on the ticket. It was Kamala Harris on the ticket.
For 107 days after he decided
Kamala Harris on the ticket.
I guess I just wanted to see if there was a clear political lesson you took from that moment and whether you think something applies in this kind of larger democratic rethink after. But I hear you. You're saying that you think it was a media problem. It was a branding problem. It was a candidate problem?
No. I didn't say that. The media had nothing to do with that 59%. If that 59% had been 69%, she would have won.
Right. If she had gotten more votes,
so is the argument that black people let Kamala Harris down?
Oh, in many instances, absolutely. If you don't show up to vote, what are you doing?
Is there no
who started
valid
that?
reason why black voters could not have felt heard by the last Democratic election? Is there no valid reason that
Well,
they would have?
There might be. I'd like to know what it is.
Wow. He tries to bail him out with the media thing.
Right.
And he won't
Right.
let. No, I didn't say that.
No, I didn't.
Wow. Hey, you remember this? Remember Barack Obama explaining to the brothers how they have to vote for Kamala?
Is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also
In fairness,
want to say that
the candidate this time is a fucking moron.
more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all here
Gonna speak to y'all.
and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you,
Oh yeah, Kamala
she
grew up
knows
like
her.
that.
college with you,
Oh,
understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences.
you guys, your father's a professor, right? You too, right? You all got fathers in academia, right?
And achieves the second highest office in
You
the
all
land.
suck Willie Brown's cock, right?
You look like a cocksucker from way
You
back.
look like a cocksucker to me. You especially with the tight jeans. Come on.
Especially you. Let's. I'll just tell you, the rumors are true. You're gonna meet me and Big Mike behind the behind this place later on. Yeah. I feel honestly, man. I feel bad. For the black community that this is what they keep getting stuck with. That their leaders think that pulling a Bill Cosby on them every time there's an election coming up is the way to talk to voters. It is like, yeah, you get Democrat blaming, you get voter blaming from all Democrats. There's a particular Bill Cosby-esque angle on it from people like Obama. Both the Obamas, Michelle Obama pulled that shit too. James Clyburn. I think part of it, they used to say a lot when Sanders was running against Hillary that a woman couldn't get away with being, basically as eccentric as he is. They weren't wrong, actually. And the result of that is if you are not of that identity, if you're not a straight white male, you're probably going to be the worst representation of your group that they can find, because you have to compromise yourself so hard to get access to that power. Your value to them is as a token, as a gatekeeper, and as somebody to keep your own people off balance and feeling bad and insecure about themselves, not questioning the system, not questioning the real power. That's your job. And that's why they're going to come to you and say, they're never going to say, a Barack Obama or a James Clyburn is never going to come and say, yeah, you're damn right not to vote for these people. They've made it clear over and over again they don't care about you. They've betrayed you again and again. I understand why a young black man wouldn't want to vote for Kamala Harris, who laughed about locking up people for marijuana and then laughs on a radio show about smoking marijuana herself, who went out of her way to keep people locked up in jail beyond their sentence, arguing that they want the labor. I understand why you're not going to vote for her. You will never get a black Democrat at that level who would say something like that. Their job is expressly to delegitimize those sentiments. and to make it about there's something wrong with you if you feel that way. It's just terrible, man. It's terrible that's the best you can get. Now, Ro Khanna, he's got to know that. He's got to know what James Clyburn is, which in a lot of ways makes him worse. You get the sense some of these people are stupid enough to actually believe a sentiment like that. I don't believe Ro's one of them. Sabby Sabs, the majority of black voters voted for Kamala Harris, and yet here is Clyburn blaming black folks for her loss, blaming voters instead of blaming Kamala for refusing to listen to demands during a damn genocide. Retired. Nah, he's running again. He's running again. Edinger Mentum. All of the elaborate debates about whether Democrats should adopt 5D chess, ultra-pragmatic, heterodox social conservatism, or electorate-transforming socialist leadershipism will always be hilarious when this is who actually runs the party.
Of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely right. Nailed it. Yeah, that's just horrible, man. I watched that. Look, I'm not a member of that group. It's not my story to tell, and it's not my thing to sort out, except in ways that I'm enlisted to by members of that group. But I feel very sorry when I see something like that, man. I feel very bad for members of that group, that the kind of people who are produced as their leaders in the system talk to them like that, man. That's just, it's disgraceful. And Ro Khanna should be ashamed of himself.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, he's clearly jockeying for position because he's going to run for president. You got to know Clyburn's not going to endorse you no matter what. He's not going to do. You can say whatever you want about James Clyburn.
Of course.
He's never going to endorse you no matter what. So there's absolutely no point in doing it. All of that being true, everything you said in the segment is true. All of that aside, if you don't know what a data center is, or if you don't know what AI is, you got to retire. I mean, you can't be representing people in the federal government when you are completely out to lunch on what is fast becoming the issue of the day for the entire planet. Like, there is a cataclysm that is coming for everyone on Earth, and you have absolutely no awareness of what that is or what the implications of it are. Yeah, how could you defend someone's decision to not retire, much less, back them up, when they get called out on a podcast for having just a completely, absurd lack of concern for what is obviously going to be the major issue of the day. But, the Democratic Party is very much a cult, especially when it comes to leaders like Clyburn, who do get put up on a pedestal because, he met his wife in jail at a civil rights protest. I mean, you're talking about 60 some odd years ago at this point.
Right.
I mean, look at the body of
Who's
work
he become since then?
Since then, who has he become since then? And what does it say about who he is, that he has become
die a hero and
of
live
a
long
civil
enough to
rights
be
leader.
a villain, right?
Exactly. Like that is clearly an example of who this guy is. And yeah, it's terrible. I do not think that this kind of browbeating of the base is going to happen as much in the 2028 cycle. I think thankfully, I think, a lot of the libs have been scared straight. And by scared straight, I don't mean scared of Trump. I mean scared of the ineptitude and the ill will that the party bosses have towards them, because they ushered in Trump again. You've seen a lot of that trust broken. That's why you're seeing very low lib
Jennifer
turnout
Welch
in
syndrome.
these. Right, exactly. So I do think the page has turned on that to a certain extent, to a pretty significant extent, actually, which makes Ro Khanna's statement there all the more of a head scratcher and all the more ridiculous.
Right.
Like, who are you reaching out to here? James Clyburn has no business in government anymore. To the extent that he's going to stick around, he is not going to offer you his helping hand no matter what. All right. Kenman says, Russ, can you take some time and record that article in your Valley Girl voice?
Well, that one begs for a Marquis Dudabular treatment.
Yes, it could. Knew this guy whose dad had a procedure for sex with sheep. Step 1, wear high boots. Step 2, put the sheep's hind legs in the boots. Congrats, Keaton. Keep those future anarchists coming. Thank you. We're done. We're done. 3 is enough. Keaton, it is pronounced Proudhon, not Proudhon. Proudhon was the was first to call himself an anarchist. Given your suspicion of power, you'd like his work. Oh, thank you, Proudhon's penny. Proudhon's penny. See, I got that right. Thank you for that. I think Ro just loved the fish fry. It could be bought. I could be bought for a fish fry. Vienticus, Russ, by saying pull a Bill Cosby on them. Is that with or without the drugging? Good one, Vienticus. Someone told me the other day during some of my fundraising bullshit what ChatGPT was. That's right. Ugly old broad says stuff. Clyburn's district is perfect for a data center to take over, and he's the one who makes it that way. Yeah, it's a food desert. We interviewed Marcel Dixon, who ran against him a couple times. Yeah. All right. Who's a very, very powerful speaker, for sure. All right. You want to take some chats?
Brian M. Gigi Allen was a mentally ill kid graper whose legacy is to destroy legitimacy to the punk movement. I mean, you know, I cover the subject of Gigi Allen on my Weird New York tour because it's interesting, but I never got into him like that. The first I found out about Gigi Allen, all right, you know how things used to go viral before the internet was really up and running and serviceable? Things got passed around by tapes. That was things going viral. They would go viral on college campuses that way.
Right.
There was a video of Gigi Allen hated documentary where like he's shitting on stage, and that was the first I saw Gigi Allen because it was analog viral when I was in college. Omer Bajrovic. What's the chance that guy adapted ex-IDF military talk and now Doug gets down jumping on it? Oh, man. JDE Santas, Augie Doggy and Doggy Daddy cartoon. Keaton, is that the reference for your son? Anyway, happy birthday, Augie Doggy.
Thank you. That's very sweet, and I do appreciate the reference. No, that is not why we named him Augie. We actually got a recommendation from a friend, you know, who picked the name because we were totally stumped. So we liked August. But one of the added perks of naming him that is that I do know that show. I am a big Hanna-Barbera fan, and I do love that cartoon. So thank you for the shout out, and thank you for the kind words.
Michael Ewan, fuck off, Ro. Scared of Keaton Weiss.
He had a vote when he had to come on, so it wasn't his fault. Although after that segment, we might be better off asking James Clyburn on.
Yeah, seriously.
More willing.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Comrade Cranky, David Lee Roth was greater than Sammy Hagar. Well, that's true. Arlene Chambers, does Clyburn have a DSA challenger? I don't think so.
I don't think so. He had Marcel Dixon used to run against him. Marcel Dixon is not a socialist. Marcel Dixon's very conservative on some issues, but, you know, left-wing on some economic issues, and very, very powerful speaker, very interesting guy. You can look him up, Marcel Dixon. I don't think he's running this time, though.
Christopher Back. Sorry, Russell, but people who studied at community college, largely minority, and eventually joined the DSA are not even remotely close to these old money Ivy League educated elite. The problem, though, is everything you said there is completely wrong. That's the I just covered this story based on the DSA's own numbers, their own numbers, and I'll make allowances for they've gained membership over the last few years, and there are some other numbers out there. From their own numbers, the last time they had a full survey of their membership was 2021. At that time, it was 85% white. Now, more recent numbers suggest it's about 68%. It's not what you're describing, man. We can't do this whole good versus evil. This thing I like is all good, and this thing I hate is all evil. Like, we can't do that. It's just not reality, man. Yes, DSA members have double the rate of not community college education and grad school education of the general population. Yes, Turchin's theory of counter elites being the drivers of social instability when the positions for them dry up, is borne out by the DSA's own numbers.
Right.
Now, there are people in DSA, the remainder, or like kind of what you were describing, disabled people, unemployed people. Like, yeah, there are some of those people in DSA. It's not by any stretch of the imagination a majority of the DSA. It's just not what it is. Brad Gilbert, love the racist assumption black must vote Dem. Well, that's what Joe Biden said, right? If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. That's what he said to Charlemagne the God, right? Darius King, the black politicians and the NAACP are here to do nothing but to absorb black political power for the elites. You're right. Those are the only people that will be allowed to advance within that system.
Right.
The franchise is what, now you look back and you realize what a sweet summer child you were not to realize. They never would have let Obama get that far if he weren't owned by Citibank. Like, now it's obvious. At the time, like, why did I think all the Wall Street people started moving to Obama? Because they just liked him? Like, the franchise. Obama's mother and her father were both named Stanley A. Dunham, and she was a textile industry genius who married an Indonesian geographer in 1965 when we unalived 1 million Indonesians. Typical American fam.
Thank you for that.
All right.
All right. Let's move right on along here. We got a great crowd in here tonight. 2605 in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, 25.
There we go. All righty. Please do smash that like button, everybody, and please do smash that subscribe button on YouTube and that follow button over on Rumble, where we got 784 in the chat. Thanks, everybody, very much for being here. All right, folks. American who works building data centers says the amount of money he sees being poured into these projects, it's like money isn't real. It's like money isn't real. Wow. That is foreshadowing. That's what we call that in the business. So let's take a look.
We're working on AI data farms right now and seeing the amount of money and labor and investment into this. And then you talk to some of your contractor friends, and the budgets just aren't real. It's almost like the amount of money they're spending on AI farms, it's like money's not even real. If you're working on an AI farm, drop a comment below.
It's like money isn't even real. Well, Elon Musk sat down for a viral podcast interview this week. Elon Musk says that within the next 10 years, money will completely disappear and you will own no money because there will be no need for it, as robots and AI will provide everything you need. Musk compares AI and robots to a personal god that will provide humans with everything they need, including food, housing, transportation, and entertainment. This kind of sounds like everything the conservative movement hates, right? It's pagan, right? It's communistic, right? Like this is godless communism is what he's talking about here. But he's talking about it gleefully. I thought they were anti-communist. I thought you're not supposed to make a mockery of God. You don't have a personal God. You pray to the one true God, right? If robots and AI are providing more goods and services than any human could possibly consume, what do you need any money for in that case? All right, so here is godless communist Elon Musk.
You want money for? You want money for goods and services, right? You want money for, obviously, food, housing, transport, entertainment. Well, if that is so abundant that there's more, that the robots and AI are providing more goods and services than any human could possibly consume, what do you need money for in that case?
But you're creating these robots. Are you
I guess
then
between
selling
now and then you'll need money, sure.
Are you selling these robots? Are you selling humanoid robots, or are you producing goods and services with the humanoid robots that you control? Like, are you the Levi Strauss? Are you selling?
I think I would probably be. It would be an exercise in vanity for me to think that I would be controlling super genius AI that is vastly smarter than me. I think what we can and should try to do is to make sure that the AI has good values, that it cares about humanity, and that it wants us to be happy and prosper. I think it probably will be.
Maybe not.
What my biological neural net tells me is that the most important thing for AI safety is to be maximally truth-seeking and curious. If that's the case, I think it will foster humanity.
Oh, all right. Well, there's a rosy outlook from pagan communist Elon Musk. Yeah. So this breaks it down here. Microchips, digital money, and mass surveillance. Never when it's Klaus Schwab, George Soros, and Bill Gates. But when it's J.D. Vance, Alex Karp, and Elon Musk, yeah. That meme kind of says it all right there. And this is not the first time Elon has talked like this. This is why when I tell you, yeah, there's going to be a UBI, yeah, there's going to be Real ID, they're going to bring all this online. This is their vision. This is their vision. They are not Trumpers. They are not MAGA. They are not supply side economic theorists. These are not Ayn Rand libertarians. These people have a God complex. They think of themselves as ushering in the future of humanity. And here is Elon Musk talking about doing essentially just that.
Would be great. And I do think we'll have universal high income. We're basically just issue money to people, and the really just because the output of goods and services will so far exceed the money supply that that effectively you have deflation, because just deflation is just the ratio of the outputs of goods and services to the money.
So there's going to be deflation. We're going to have high income UBI. We're just going to basically be giving people money to do nothing.
So if the rate of growth of goods and services far exceeds the rate of growth of the money supply, which I predict will happen, then you will have deflation.
Yes. And a lot of people spinning up new companies, competing against each other, driving the price down, and increasing the variability and deflation faster and faster.
So that's Elon Musk speaking at the Abundance Summit 2026. So that doesn't really sound like conservatism to me. That sounds like the very sort of WEF agenda that people thought they were voting against. Speaking of which, here's Donald Trump telling Americans to just stop fighting data centers. You can't fight it. You just have to go with it.
You have to convince your community how great these things. You can't fight it. You have to go with it. And you're going to have all that protection, and we're giving you automatic protection. But
that's what I told that 13-year-old girl who had that lawsuit, but then somebody talked to her, and she dropped the suit.
She dropped it, yeah.
Taxes. And you're going to have something that if you don't have it, everybody else wants it.
If you don't have it, everybody else wants it. Well, here's a worker. He's working at a Tesla plant, building up a Tesla plant, and he seems pretty based. He seems to get it. Many people are still blissfully unaware of the technocratic horror show just around the corner. Take it from this guy here.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people from my last video saying that nothing's coming, nothing's gonna happen, I'm paranoid, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna tell you like this is where I'm working, okay? I'll read that. That's where I'm working right now. The man who owns that company, I'll say Shelon Tusk. You know, y'all know Shelon Tusk. Find the rhyme, the rhythm. He has us working 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week. I'm an electrician. I wire up all the machinery that they're using to build the trucks. I'm wiring up all the machinery that they are using to build these robots, okay? We are working 12 hours, 7 days a week. I have worked for TikTok. I have worked for Amazon. I have worked for Samsung. I have worked for Fortune 500 companies all year. Nobody is pushing their people like this, okay? 12-hour shifts. He is trying to complete this for something. I promise you, bro, soon as these robots go online, it will kill 80% of the job force. All you people driving trucks in restaurants who don't think this can happen. In Japan, they already have robots serving tables. They already have nurses that are being robotically projected from monitors to help patients. Your job is not safe, okay? 80% of the workforce will be killed by these robots. As soon as he puts these AIs inside of these robots, I promise you, bro, they will think, be smarter, faster, and they do not need to sleep, bro. We call in. I called in 3 days ago because I worked 6 days straight. Robots don't do that, and that's what they are pushing for, bro. Have you sitting at home with the real ID, with your Fed Now money, taking free governmental universal income, slave, bro. Victim to the system, bro. They do not want you out here moving how you want. They do not want you collecting resources. They don't want you to do anything without their knowledge, bro. They want to track every transaction. They want to track your whereabouts. They want to know what you're thinking, bro. And all they want to do is monetize and commercialize that. It's that mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is taking things that should not be for money or for sale and making them for sale, like your soul, love, things of that nature, bro.
Yeah. And that's what the cameras are for. That's what probably the ICE facilities are for. It's to prepare for civil unrest, not because people are going to necessarily be starved to death, but because people are not going to know what to do with themselves. Like, that is going to create, I think, a psychosis. We saw some of that with the COVID lockdowns and coming out of those lockdowns. Now, that was nothing. I mean, that was a year and change. That was a year and change. This is forever. Like, this is forever. This is going to create a global existential crisis that is permanent. And Elon says it's coming online by 2036, which just coincidentally would be the end of J.D. Vance's third term, assuming he takes over after Trump resigns halfway through this one. And look, don't take it from Elon, don't take it from the worker, take it from Vladimir Putin, who says, yeah, this is irreversible. It's inevitable and it's irreversible.
And there's a situation when millions of people are about to lose their jobs or will be forced to change their areas of employment. Whole professions might go extinct, replaced, when humans will be replaced by artificial intelligence. A number of areas related to automation, preparing and analyzing documents, writing code, AI is already replacing junior specialists. And in the near future, it looks well poised to replace middle personnel. This process is irreversible and inevitable. Progress is not standing still. And we must be ready for upcoming changes. But
it's irreversible. It's inevitable. Progress is not standing still. So for those who are more inclined to take the word of Vladimir Putin over Elon Musk or the worker in the yellow vest, you've had it there from all different kinds of sources. This momentum is bigger than any one political actor, one political movement, any one president, any one tech developer. This now has accrued a momentum of its own, which means that Donald Trump was not the architect for this. Donald Trump was the vessel for this, because you'd have had too much resistance to it if this came under a President Kamala Harris and under the liberal wing of the global ruling elite class. In other words, you had to create the illusion that there's this other wing of elites that's in charge, and they're the salt of the earth, God-fearing, family values wing. Even though Elon Musk just told you there, hey, you're going to get your own personal God, and you're not going to have to work anymore. That's the opposite of conservative ethos, because Elon Musk was a Democrat. He voted for Joe Biden in 2020. He supported RFK Jr. until it became clear that Donald Trump was going to win. These people are not conservative any more than they are liberal or communist or socialist. These people consider themselves godlike figures who are blessing humanity with this utopian, life-changing technology. You're not going to have to work. We're going to give you money. There's not going to be the kind of demand for labor. Well, what that means is that there's not going to be any way that people are supposed to spend their time. Like, the transition into that is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. And what Vladimir Putin said was absolutely true. We do have to be ready for it. And how you prepare for that is up to you. But I would say a very important thing in preparing yourself for this is to start nurturing community, start forging human bonds with other people, and start deriving meaning in ways that you have not been trained to. You've been trained to be glued to your screen. It's going to be really important to have those community bonds going forward, because this is not something that was sprung on us this year or last year. This is something that's been in the works for many, many years, if not many, many decades. And the political question is just a question of, okay, who do we need in place to usher this era in? And our friend Pasta Jardula said in the run-up to the election, he says, I think the deep state wants Trump because I think Trump is going to be the smoother transition into this than the liberals. The liberals would just create too much backlash. There's already all this backlash about the World Economic Forum and 15-minute cities. You'll own nothing and be happy. That kind of got tied to this like Davos wing of the liberal establishment. So what do? You just switch it up, trick people into thinking that, no, we're going to go back to building great buildings and great cars and worshiping Jesus again. And what happens? Same exact thing, big picture. Same exact thing, big picture. So I don't think Trump is the architect of this. I don't think Trump is the impetus of this. I think they needed this movement to usher this in because it was the smoothest path forward from their perspective. But a smooth path it will not be. I really think there's going to be a global existential crisis. We saw that with COVID. We saw the mental health impacts of those lockdowns and the transition out of those lockdowns. This is going to be bigger and more long-lasting, I think. And I think you heard it right from Elon's mouth there. You heard it right from his mouth. No more money in 8 years. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but not much. Not much. I really don't think so. I think it's coming online a lot sooner than people think.
We've studied this question, and what we found is UBI isn't enough. We're going to have to send everybody sourdough starter kit and a ukulele. Everyone's going to learn the ukulele, and they're going to learn to bake sourdough bread, and that'll be a lot smoother. The thing is, as with a lot of biomedical technology, which I do believe, given an uninterrupted, unimpeded course of development, they're going to learn to, up to a point, stop, slow, and ultimately reverse aging. All of the science out there indicates that will happen, which of course raises all kinds of questions about what that would do to society, because what are you going to wind up happening? If we have the system that we have, you're going to have like rich people who live for hundreds of years and the poor who die. But if Asimov was right, and I suspect he is, he kind of gamed that out. What would happen if you had a population that lived longer versus a population that had normal human lifespans? His theory was he gamed out that on Earth, people still had normal lifespans, and then these colonies, they were living longer. And as a result, the Earth people wound up being a lot more technologically advanced because they shuffled through the generations. Whereas the ones who lived longer kind of got stuck in their era and didn't advance. So pretty quickly, the Earth people were more advanced than they were. I think that's probably true, actually, that if you did do that, then the people who turn over generations faster would be more dynamic than the ones who are just hanging around like turtles for hundreds of years. But all of that assumes an unbroken chain of development. It all assumes that civilization just continues to develop from here without any major cataclysms or catastrophic overturning of the apple cart. I don't see that happening. I think the AI very much like the dot-com era. Yeah, the internet was going to change life on the planet. It already had by the time the dot-com bubble burst. But it still got way out ahead of where the economics of it could justify the investment and valuations. That is where we are with AI, but on steroids. We were talking about this the other day. Having lived through the dot-com bubble and 2008, both as an adult, I can tell you, I didn't notice the dot-com bubble because I didn't have money in the market. It wasn't like 2008, where everything blew up for everybody. I lost my business overnight, and I did not have a business directly in the stock market or financial investments. I lost my theater right away. Immediately, as soon as the market crashed in 2008, my rental calls stopped right away. Wasn't like that in 2000. And actually, I had a theater then too. Nothing happened. It didn't impact my business at all. This shit is different. This is, you've got so many chips in this one area of the economy. 45% of the stock market value is built around this. Now, most of the market has not advanced. Yep. It's all built around this. You have with Ellison, with Oracle, his whole purchase of half the media in the world is predicated on Oracle not collapsing financially. I think Oracle will collapse financially with this AI bubble. Like a lot of this stuff that we're assuming is going to happen, all of this consolidation of wealth and businesses and corporations, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I think a lot of these people are going to end up going broke in a collapse because the government is not really in a position to bail them out the way that they did. I mean, part of a collapse like that could be the dethroning of the dollar as the world reserve currency. So at that point, do we get to a world like this where these silicon? Yeah, probably. Elon et al., Peter Thiel, they're assuming they're going to be in charge of that world. I don't know that that's really the case. Andy Gardner, Elon wants to own the company store. He already does. Does. David Santucci. Notice how whenever politicians say they're going to get things done, they never say just what those things are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good point.
Right. All
right. We'll move right on along here, folks. This is not a long one, but it's an important one, I think. Jalopnik, which I guess is like an automotive trade magazine. Some municipalities are replacing flock cameras with Axon, but is there a difference? So yeah, the Flock CEO came out and apologized for smearing the anti-Flock activists as terrorists. You know, he said, I shouldn't have said that, but you know, his brand has become kind of toxic. And so now they're doing a little switcheroo here and hoping you don't notice. Flock's artificial intelligence-powered surveillance cameras are now smart enough to find your car, even if it doesn't have a license plate. Yet they're so dumb that they got an automotive journalist detained recently for driving a stolen Range Rover. Needless to say, it was a press car he was legally checking out for an upcoming review. See, these are the growing pains, folks. Oh, you got rousted when you were doing your job, which was totally illegal. Oh, sorry about that. We'll work it out. We'll work it out. You know, you have to be patient with this. Please bear with us. When you then combine that kind of technology with the occasional cop using cameras to stalk women, again, these are growing pains, all right? This is technology. This is progress. It's not perfect, okay? Some women are going to get stalked. Some people are going to get arrested, even though they did nothing wrong. You just have to bear with us, okay? We're working out the kinks here. We have to move fast, break things. That's the way of the future. It can be easy to say why some municipalities, including Denver, Colorado, are ditching their Flock arrays. But keep in mind that if they're only switching from Flock to another brand of license plate readers like Axon, it's like a gambling addict trying to kick the habit by switching from FanDuel to DraftKings. Despite what you may read on the Flock website, Axon cameras are pretty effective when it comes to hoovering up personal details that can go far beyond your license plate numbers. That means a municipality that opts for Axon cameras instead of flock units won't necessarily reduce the amount of privacy its citizens lose through their use. In fact, the opposite may be true. Consider the news from Axon Week 2026, where a new level of AI was introduced. The company claims that its Axon Vision technology can currently recognize observable activity such as physical altercations, unauthorized access, medical emergencies, or hazardous conditions in real time. I thought these were just for license plates. No, they can find altercations too. The functionality was introduced as a tool for Axon's millions of CCTV cameras, and that brings us to a major drawback of the Axon network, at least if you're interested in your own privacy. So that's one piece of this. The other piece of this, James Lee did some digging, friend of the show, great fellow, says, I'm noticing cities are ditching Flock for Axon. I did a little digging. Axon is backed by BlackRock and Vanguard. Trump invested $5 million earlier this year and linked to a firm co-founded by who? Jeffrey Epstein and Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. Is this why we're seeing so many viral anti-Flock videos? Oh, you mean was that Flock? The anti-Flock campaign, that was a trick all along? Is that what he's saying? Well, let's see. Let's hear from James Lee.
Is almost certainly a deep state psyop. And I got all the receipts.
You know, one of the content creators for the administration, basically a binder guy, an Epstein binder guy, all of a sudden saying the Flock cameras are wrong. And then you did a deep dive and you found out something really interesting.
I've found pretty much like at least half a dozen cities that have canceled Flock, but then signed up for another surveillance system, Axon.
Except who has ownership in this company?
Well, turns out Trump. Earlier this year, he bought $5 million worth of stock in Axon.
The minions of President Trump going out now against Flock. And meanwhile, Americans don't realize they're just being replaced with a different surveillance system where Trump is getting some royalties on the side.
Now there's reporting that this guy has come out with, Tony Ortiz, saying that he's spoken to at least 2 influencers that have been approached about getting paid to post negatively about Flock.
So there you go.
Then I looked into the investors. So Flock is invested by Andreessen Horowitz. That's Mark Andreessen, part of the Silicon Valley technocratic elite. Founders Fund, that's Peter Thiel's group, as well as Y Combinator, that is the group that Sam Altman used to run. And if you look at Axon, Axon is a publicly traded company. So that's old school, that's banker finance money. So their top shareholders are BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street.
Right.
It's like, why are they pushing anti-Flock? Oh, is it because potentially they want to steer these city contracts towards Axon?
100%.
Is that a possibility? I have
Yes.
one more thing to share.
Yeah.
This is the headline. Epstein could have made $100 million on a secret police tech investment. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak helped convicted sex trafficker quietly invest $1 million into a police tech startup in 2015. So Axon just bought last year the company that Epstein founded back in 2015 called Carbon. So now you have the tie of Epstein and the Israelis involved with this Axon company.
And Trump.
Versus the technocratic elites.
I mean, I don't know. It sounds like an all-American company to me. Why are you running down American enterprise? Why are you shitting all over a great tradition of American business? This seems very anti-American to me. It's got everything you're looking for in a good company. You got Jewish investment. You got BlackRock. You got Vanguard. It's publicly traded. What do you want? Yeah, this is Islamo-communism over here.
But the thing is, people aren't paying attention because everything is like anti-Flock, de-Flock. We need to get rid of these Flock cameras. But they're quietly putting up these Axon cameras in replacement, and they're tied to Israel, Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, BlackRock, Vanguard.
So that's the point.
That's the point.
It doesn't really matter what evil group is behind it. We need to make sure that we're knocking down all surveillance cameras.
All right. Well, that took a very anti-Semitic turn. I apologize for that, folks. I really do. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I should have done more preparation for this. I didn't realize they were going to go so hardcore anti-Semite there as to impugn the character of Ehud Barak and Jeffrey Epstein, great financier. esteemed financier.
They're just
Jeffrey
jealous of
Epstein.
success.
They're
These
just
people.
jealous of his success. I didn't realize
Yeah.
James Lee was such a jealous guy, such a jealous, hateful man.
It's obvious.
Yeah, it's obvious. Well, anyway, look, all right. If maybe, all right, maybe give him the benefit of the doubt, hear him out a little bit more. If you want, you can find the rest of this on his website. In all seriousness, James Lee's terrific. So go watch the whole video if you'd like. The entire Flock Axon deep dive is available on my website for free. Support independent journalism. Yep, James does a great job. So yeah, go and check that out. But yeah, that's the choice that you're left with. So what do we say? These people they're always 10 steps ahead of you, right? Oh, anti-flock. Well, you get funneled right into Axon. So what is it going to come down to? Well, classy Tom Massie is making the most of his remaining days in office here. He says, I'll soon be sponsoring a bill to withhold federal money from municipalities and police departments that deploy flock and other style cameras to surveil law-abiding citizens. Yeah, that's the way. That's the way. These are a violation of people's Fourth Amendment rights. It's unconstitutional. If you're going to invest money in surveilling law-abiding citizens, then we're not going to fund you. Like, that is, I think, a good plan. It's a good plan, and I look forward to him introducing that legislation, if for no other reason than to see who's for it and who's against it. Because what have I said? I've been on this beat for the past several shows. The struggle for civil liberties is, I think, the struggle of our time now. And, we spent a lot of this live stream just seeing to what lengths the Democratic Party will go to make sure that no one you would ever want to vote for in the Democratic Party ever makes it to a general election. And so by process of elimination, like if Thomas Massie were to run for president on a civil libertarian platform, I would be inclined to support him to the extent I'd support anyone. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we do a podcast. We like to not endorse people unless we're really passionate because we like to maintain some sort of objectivity in that sense. But, Democrats are never going to let anybody who you'd want to vote for through to the general election. So at least at the primary level, I think a Massie candidacy sounds pretty good to me, because these are the kinds of things that I think you have to raise. These are the kinds of issues that you have to raise now. It's very, very simple. Like, if you're pouring public money into spying on law-abiding citizens, then we're not funding you. Like, we're not paying for that. We're not going to have anything to do with that. Fuck you. So I support that initiative 100%. When it comes up, we are in the announcement phase. He just announced this yesterday, but good on Tom Massie. And I love this meme in response. Back in my day, they weren't tracking our every move while pretending we live in a free country. Yep, that says it. That says it.
Well, yeah, this is definitely a pivot point in history, but it's also part of an arc. One of the features of dystopian sci-fi is almost always that the people in the dystopian world don't know they live in a dystopian world, because that's just the world as they've always known it. In a lot of ways, if you showed somebody 100 years ago the world we live in now, they would consider it dystopian.
I'll try 30 years ago.
But it's very revealing to me. I think it's From Here to Eternity with Frank Sinatra. There's a moment in there in these movies, in these post-war movies, when they're first building out the suburbs, when they're first building mass culture. Mass culture had not existed yet. The whole fast food, national highway, suburban enclaves, that was all being created. And there was a lot of unease about it at that time. Sinatra's character is, like a rebellious, ne'er-do-well. And one of the COs says to him, listen, there's a time in this country when a man could go his own way, but those times are over. Like there's this awareness that something is being lost in the creation of the world to come. But very much like now, people feel powerless to do anything about it. right? This world of power lines and regular highways, and that world is taken over, man. The world where you could jump on a horse and go somewhere else, that world is going away. And then you look at the next stage when you had all these underground radical groups, when you look at how they used to be able to get birth certificates and assume fake identities, that world is gone. It's amazing to even think they were able to do that relatively recently, that you could just find a birth certificate of a dead infant and forge a whole new identity, go live in another city. Dynamite was legal until the early 70s. Anyone could go into a hardware store and buy dynamite. They made it illegal because of that, because of groups like Weather Underground using it not to remove roots from their backyard. There's been an overall arc over the last 100 years of taking away people's freedom and liberty so gradually that people didn't really have an opportunity to say anything about it. It was one thing and another thing and another thing and another thing. And you already live in a world where, back in the day, if people fucked up in one city, they could go move to another, right? They could start over. That was very American, right? Go to another coast, start all over again, renew. You can't do that anymore. Your whole life is following you around on the internet now. This is such a pivot point, I think, because this is it. This is it. If they win this, if they're able to build a world of data centers and complete surveillance and digital currency, it's over. It's game over. They're at that point, the world is so locked down, it would be almost impossible to overthrow that. Now, look, the nature of life is entropy. That'll end too, eventually, maybe in an apocalypse. But it could be, look at epochs in history. They can last hundreds, they can last thousands of years. Yeah, it'll end, but when? Right? Are you going to enter a period that is hundreds or thousands of years long where there is no such thing as individual liberty? Or I asked Turchin this question when I was interviewing him. If does AI make all predictions based on the past obsolete? And he had a pretty interesting and kind of terrifying answers. If they take AI and put it in robots and set loose on population, it is over. that was his take. So maybe it is over at that point. Maybe there's no coming back from that. But I think that's why you're seeing this battle over this. I think people sense, they know, if you let them do this, it's over. It's over. If people ever see freedom again, it'll be in your great grandchildren's time after an asteroid hits the Earth or something and allows a reset.
And there's one man who could stop it. It's Classy Tom Massie.
It's Classy Tom Massie.
Got to get a graphic novel.
The Avengers.
A graphic novel.
Starring Classy Tom Massie.
Classy Tom Massie. That's right. All right. Master Yoda. No one wants to die for Israel, not even the Israelis. Dems and GOP are two cheeks on the same backside. Take back your future and join the American Communist Party at acp.us. Where's the other guy who gives us $10? for the ACP ads. It's for the ACP chats, not ads. Don't worry. If Chris Farley and Reese Witherspoon's character Tracy Flick from the movie Election had a baby, Haley Stevens, exactly.
That's a good call.
Good call. I'm similar. I read a lot as a kid, but every once in a while you get that classic Jersey fuck you accent. That's right. Oh, look, Cool Blue's here. What else, Syed? Win general? Yes. Trump's popularity nationally in Michigan's estimated 40%. Democrats have 6 of 13 House seats from Michigan, will likely win over majority. Democrats will hold governorship. Senate will be a Democrat held. All right. Hey, if you say so, you're the man. You're the man. I am not going against anything that you say. I'm not making that mistake again. So Cool Blue has spoken. I'm still nervous about it, but I'm going to trust Cool Blue. Vienticus Prime, Epstein eyes are watching you. Vienticus, you know the purpose of the thing is what it does, and these cameras allow for stalking, harassing, and spying on people. That's right. Join the Caps Lock Party, permanent capitalism, capital punishment for the lower class, free hearing aid for the upper class. Thank you. You know, when I started calling them Epstein eyes, I was kind of joking, but learning this, well, I'm not surprised, actually. That's right. Hey, that's right. Yeah, you've been calling them Epstein eyes from the beginning. Although Flock are not Epstein eyes. Axon is Epstein eyes. I wonder how much the Flock guy invested into Axon. If it records my flatulence, I'm drawing a line. Thank you. All right, you got some super chats?
Yep. James D, love you guys. Thanks for all you do. Also, I have this random idea that Keaton does the show in boxers and tube socks. I don't think so.
No, gym shorts. So. I'm actually, today it's barefoot with gym shorts.
Today I got bike shorts on because all my shit's in the laundry. Paul Jenkins, super sticker. Thank you, Paul. And one more, and then we'll do our last segment.
Yep.
See, we cut a stream, but we're giving you.
Yeah. We're giving you more show. See, we're giving you more. So leave it. So let us do it the way we think we need to do it. Okay. We're making good on our promise. We told you we're going to do longer shows, more segments, and we're doing it. So everybody.
Yeah, we're obsessive freaks. We cut a stream. We're going to be like, but we got to cover this. We got to cover that.
Yeah.
0744 Pete. The bar is so low that we now celebrate an elevated person just because they believe in some of the Bill of Rights. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Well, that's right.
All right. So
I'm pretty sure he believes in all the Bill of Rights, though. I mean, I think Thomas Massie's pretty principled in that way. I gotta say.
Thomas Massie is one of the few people who you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
The rest of them, you don't feel like you know what you're getting. Okay. Hey, this is a fun one. There's a fun one to close out the evening with. I call this piece MAHA Shits the Bed. KLBK News. The FDA is continuing its investigation into a widespread cyclospora. I should have practiced this before the show. Cyclosporiasis outbreak.
Come to think of it, I should have learned how to pronounce it.
I should have learned to pronounce it. There's one case where you could say I had the time to do it. Cyclosporiasis outbreak after patients in numerous states reportedly began suffering from a symptom frequently described as explosive diarrhea. New York Post. Explosive diarrhea parasite sufferers detail horrific realities of infection. Quote, pure water coming out of you. Some of the poor victims described going to the toilet 40 times a day.
Damn.
You
could get dehydrated from that.
Oh, yeah. No, people can die from that.
Yeah.
From FactPost, cyclospora, the foodborne parasite known to cause explosive diarrhea, has been found in parsley, cilantro, snow peas, mesclun lettuce, spinach, salad mixes, berries. This is from July 13th. Cases are on the rise nationwide. So this is July 13th. Here is your Health and Human Services Secretary, RFK, on July 14th.
America has the highest chronic disease burden of any nation in the world, but luckily we have a president now who has a plan for ending it. But it begins with you taking back your own health.
You can do it. Get active. Eat real food.
I mean, just clowns and criminals everywhere. Deuce Bigelow. Yeah, that's a guy you should cut an ad with. He's credible. That's a credible guy.
You called him Ace Bigelow before. Was it Ace Bigelow?
Yeah. Okay, so RFK is telling you how we've got a president who's going to make your food healthy again. Right after they just approved carcinogenic pesticides, 5 minutes after the Supreme Court decided that consumers have very limited right, almost non-existent right, to sue Monsanto for Roundup. The EPA is approving a forever chemical pesticide its own data admits could cause cancer. Oh boy, you want to talk about pronunciation? And I did this segment too. Yeah, you do it. Go ahead.
Trifluoroazoxazine.
There you go.
It's a herbicide that breaks up into 12 separate PFAS compounds once it hits soil and water. Rats exposed to it develop thyroid tumors in both sexes. The basis for the EPA's cancer language, BASF, pulled this chemical in 2022 rather than fight a lawsuit over harm to endangered fish.
So now that's going on your food. So what the fuck's RFK talking about? What's he talking about, man? He didn't say a word about that when that passed. So this is, I'm kind of giving you a timeline here. So by July 16th, they're blaming Taco Bell, basically. FDA and CDC continue investigating a multi-state outbreak of cyclospora illnesses. At this time, we are advising consumers to avoid eating shredded iceberg lettuce from Mexico served at Taco Bell locations in Indiana, Michigan, Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia. FDA is investigating with CDC and state partners to determine if additional products may be contributing to this outbreak. Updates will be provided as new information becomes available. RFK was asked about it. This is, was this the 21st?
Secretary Kennedy, as you know, thousands of Americans have gotten sick from the cyclosporiasis outbreak. Would like to get your take on, does the federal government have this outbreak under control right now?
We do have the outbreak under control. We have done extensive forensics, epidemiological forensics, and we've identified the source of the outbreak. We and the companies that have been involved have implemented a recall.
Any response to some of the criticism that the cut to the federal agencies under your leadership has slowed the response to the outbreak?
Those criticisms are invalid. We've had no cuts in our surveillance program. We did cuts in the Food Net program, but they were for redundant surveillance, and all the states will tell you that.
All right, so keep that in mind. He's saying it's no big deal. We just cut the Food Net program. It was redundant. Also, keep in mind, he said it's under control. That's on the 21st. They got it under control. So by the 24th, it's not under control. Now the FDA is investigating 6 cyclospora outbreaks, 6 more. More than 12,000 Americans have already been hit with explosive diarrhea. So what exactly does under control mean to the CDC these days? Well, that's what it means. You know? Nobody's died yet is what we meant. Okay, so listen, I want to warn you guys if anybody's squeamish. I don't know if it's AI or they got some documentary footage. Maybe it's from those flock cameras. Some very graphic footage in here, so be prepared.
Has launched investigations into 6 outbreaks of cyclospora, that microscopic parasite that sickened thousands of people across the country with a severe gastrointestinal illness. The California Department of Public Health says the state is not among those experiencing an increase in cases.
Cases of a diarrhea illness known as cyclosporiasis have risen drastically this summer. It's a gastrointestinal infection caused by a parasite. As of Friday, 41 states have reported at least 1 case this season, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. But this specific outbreak is concentrated in the 9 states listed on this map. Their health departments have reported over 12,000 cases of cyclosporiasis so far this summer. At least 98 people have been hospitalized, according to the CDC.
This may be a more complicated set of outbreaks than simply just one with one source.
Symptoms include explosive diarrhea, nausea, abdominal cramping, bloating, and fatigue. And unlike a stomach bug that lasts 24 to 48 hours, symptoms of cyclosporiasis can last for weeks if untreated. The Food and Drug Administration says the likely source linked to the 9-state outbreak is shredded iceberg lettuce from Taylor Farms to Mexico. The company voluntarily recalled the product last week. Symptoms of the illness can take up to 2 weeks, and the epidemiological curve of new cases hasn't yet slowed.
It's going to be hard to sort this out for one of these major centralized distributors.
The CDC recommends washing all fruits and vegetables thoroughly before eating and notes washing alone cannot guarantee the parasite's removal, but cooking can kill the parasite. And make sure you're not eating lettuce that has been recalled.
It's like children with a podcast. It really is.
Yeah.
Really is. All right. So a few interesting points in there. The New Yorker did a very good article about this. Grocery shopping in the age of explosive diarrhea. What has characterized RFK's agency's response to the cyclospora outbreak is the relative absence of information, and that owes partly to an absence of staff. Neither the Food and Drug Administration nor the CDC nor the Office of the Surgeon General currently has a Senate-confirmed leader. Since the start of President Donald Trump's second term, when Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency commenced disemboweling the federal civil service, the FDA has lost about 20% of its staff, including food safety scientists and key support staff for food inspectors. The Department of Agriculture, which regulates poultry and most red meats, has lost about 10% of its food safety and inspection team. Yeah, this is move fast, break things brought to the federal government. The thing is, folks, the shit that they told you about how bloated the government was, it's actually not true. They've been defunding and underfunding the government since Reagan, right? How bloated could it be? You know what's bloated? The thing that Elon never audited. What was that? The Pentagon. That's bloated. I bet you can find a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse over there, but he never touched that.
Small intestine's pretty bloated.
Yeah, the bloat is in the small intestine now because Elon cut all your food health and safety inspectors. The CDC was hit even harder. It has shed roughly a quarter of its workforce, including scores of people from the agency's Epidemic Intelligence Service, which trains and deploys disease detectives to trace and respond to outbreaks and other public health challenges. Quote, the people who are still at CDC are working under incredibly constrained circumstances. Arthur Reingold, a professor emeritus of epidemiology at the School of Public Health at the University of California, Berkeley, and a former disease detective at the CDC told me, quote, we have a markedly reduced capacity to do the kinds of studies that underpin a lot of our prevention and control strategies, and there has been a huge exodus of highly qualified people. The decimation of the national public health apparatus has had a direct impact on the cyclosporiasis crisis. The CDC's parasite surveillance team, which was instrumental in tracing the origin of the 2013 cyclospora outbreak, had 11 scientists before Doge, and now it has 3. And here's the thing that RFK was talking about. Until last year, the FoodNet program, a joint project of the CDC, FDA, and USDA, mandated proactive surveillance of 8 pathogens in 10 states, including cyclospora. That list of pathogens has been cut to 2, and it no longer includes our diarrhea parasite. Quote, that leaves states more and more on their own, Eisenberg said. So RFK, I think we said this after we read his book. Oh, yeah, he's a degenerate, lying, fucking scumbag. He is a scumbag. He lies like a lawyer. He lies. He gives you half the information. He gives you just what he needs to tell you. He misleads you with incorrect or extremely incomplete statements. Yeah, no, we just cut the FoodNet program. Okay, well, that's what the FoodNet program was. So there's no connection between the fact that what would normally, RFK in another place said, yeah, you normally have outbreaks like this in the summer. Yeah, tiny, few hundred people. Not like this. No connection. No connection to that. You know what else there's a connection to? The explosive diarrhea company tied to outbreak donated to Trump as he delayed food safety rule. Over a decade ago, Taylor Farms and big agricultural industry groups successfully lobbied to defund a significant foodborne illness testing program that was responsible for some 80% of U.S. public produce pathogen testing. More recently, under Donald Trump's second administration, a lobbying group that Taylor Farms belongs to successfully pushed to delay a rule that would have helped the government more quickly trace contaminations back to specific locations, which could have helped prevent the illness at hand, cyclosporiasis, from proliferating into thousands of cases nationwide. The Trump administration moved to delay the tracing rule last year. Several days later, Taylor Farms donated $1 million to a pro-Trump super PAC. That summer, Taylor Farms contributed another $1 million to House Republican super PAC. And a few months later, Republicans in Congress enshrined the rule delay as part of a funding bill. Yeah, nah, man, we got to protect our democracy. We got to protect our democracy against foreign influence. The calls coming from inside the house. You think you got democracy? Look how it works. They paid them, and now thousands of people have to get sick as a result. That's it. That's your democracy that you need to defend.
Well, you wait. He's gonna start. He's gonna open up his own line of like blueberry patches.
Yeah.
Coming out of this.
Separately, guaranteed you're not going to get the shits from my berries.
Approved for regularity by the FDA.
Separately, legal complaints and employee accounts suggest that Taylor Farms facilities have been host to unsanitary workplace conditions, with staff working long hours and receiving sparse breaks, conditions that experts say could foster the spread of foodborne illnesses. And hey, man, as if that weren't enough, Philip Lewis, representatives for Taylor Farms called the White House to try to delay a recall tied to one of the largest foodborne illness outbreaks in U.S. history. It's Wall Street Journal. Representatives for produce giant Taylor Farms contacted the White House with an urgent plea. The company wanted to delay announcing a recall tied to one of the largest foodborne illness outbreaks in U.S. history. The call, during which the company asked for more proof and more time before being linked to the outbreak, illustrates how one of the country's largest produce suppliers sought to limit its exposure to a public relations nightmare while grappling with a costly and complicated recall. You guys have the phone number to call the White House when you have a problem? Nope, but they do. They do. That's your democracy right there. So Kennedy didn't say anything about this. He was too busy palling around with fellow Zionist maniac and talentless dirtbag Rob Schneider.
The source of the outbreak was illegal immigrants having anal sex on the salad bar at Taco Bell. Sorry about that. We're getting to the bottom of it. And you know what's interesting? This disease does not seem to affect Palestinians. Almost as if it was engineered, and Jews are a disproportionate number of the victims. So we're looking into that angle. Kennedy broke his silence at last and chose a morning drive talk radio show in Tampa, Florida as his forum. Cyclosporiasis is very treatable, he told the host, Ryan Gorman. There are outbreaks every summer, he said. This is true, but those outbreaks typically affect a few dozen people per state. Kennedy made similarly context-free comments about the deadly measles outbreak of the late winter. Oh, we'll get to that. The notion that cyclosporiasis wasn't being actively tracked was fake news, Kennedy scoffed, and listeners could hop onto the FDA website to see the result of our investigation. He did not note that the investigation was still ongoing, that there was no result to see, nor did he explain why the agencies he oversees had briefly marked all non-Taco Bell lettuce as safe. Yeah, that's typical RFK. Omit, mislead, and lie, like a lawyer. Here, you can do this one. Now that we know the probable culprit, I think it's going to be much easier for people to make healthy choices.
Michigan had just crossed 5,000 cases. Yeah, just avoid all of the carcinogenics that we're putting in your food now.
I've saved a lot of money on groceries since this outbreak, I gotta say, because my kids eat berries like they breathe air. I mean, they eat tons of berries, and berries are expensive. So this actually has helped lower my grocery bill, just not in the way that I would have liked.
I mean, I eat blueberries every morning. I'm living dangerously now.
Oh, well, it's been a 4-hour show, so you must not have gotten it.
No, not today. Not today.
Unless you've been muting your microphone and you have a bucket under you. I don't know
about. Fact post. The following diseases have surged as RFK Jr. and Trump have cut public health and pushed vaccine disinformation. Measles, flu, rotavirus, whooping cough, Ebola, hantavirus, cyclosporiasis, E. coli, campylobacteriosis, listeria, cryptosporidiosis. Do you know what that is?
Cryptosporidiosis? I don't know. Can you use that on your Rumble wallet? Yeah, is that a Rumble wallet feature?
I think that's when you turn into a mythical animal.
Oh, okay.
Infant botulism. Yeah, so let's just quickly hone in on a few of these. U.S. measles cases reached 35-year high for second record-breaking year in a row. It's almost like measles are a real disease that is prevented by vaccines, and when people stop taking vaccines, you get measles. Wow.
A lot more measles.
Who knew? Who knew that if you stop taking a long-proven vaccine like the measles vaccine, you'd have an explosion in measles? So there you go. So there's your science, right? There's your science. Annual U.S. measles cases. Soon as RFK takes over, look at that. Look at the lines on the right side of the chart. Okay, like this is. Hey, I agree that at this point the medical industry has, like everything else in our society, been so corrupted by the profit motive that newer products, I could understand people being skeptical about it and wanting to really kick the tires before they fuck with things that the medical industry develops now. Frankly, I was very outspoken about the way the medical industry sold completely unproven treatments for gender dysphoria in youth. And that was a great example to me of, wow, man, they're so motivated by money. They really don't give a shit. They really don't care. So, hey, man, I don't want to take that away. Measles was not invented 3 years ago. Okay, nor smallpox, nor like the whole basic idea that you should just not take vaccines and vaccines are more dangerous than the diseases they stop. It's fucking batshit, man. It's insane. Look. Like, what? There's your evidence. Predictably, that is what will happen when you stop giving people these vaccines. And how about this? How about this? The screwworm, there's more of a Doge thing. The screwworm, a flesh-eating parasite and longtime foe of American ranchers, is back in U.S. cattle after decades. That was considered eradicated from 1966. Screwworm. Agriculture Pulse Communications is from March 2025. Bird flu screwworm monitoring among foreign aid programs killed by Trump. Oh, well. So I wonder why all of a sudden we have screwworms back for the first time since 1966. You think there's a connection? From Raphael Warnock. It appears that stopping a flesh-eating parasite from spreading across the continent was, in fact, not waste, fraud, and abuse. Who knew? And by the way, that doesn't just affect cattle. You know, that flesh-eating disease, that's what that is, man. That can affect you. That can kill you. That can kill. One of the victims so far has been a pet. Like any mammal can be affected by this screwworm. But hey, man, Trump's yucking it up. He thinks it's funny. Ducey asked him about it, surprisingly enough.
Different story, not Iran. There's this nasty parasite that is giving people in 9 states explosive diarrhea. When is it going to be safe to eat lettuce again?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. It's the first time I've been asked that question. Are you eating lettuce recently?
I don't know. Are you a
I should
fruit?
always have more lettuce.
Get the hell out of here, Peter. No, it's a very interesting question from you. I didn't think you'd ask that kind of a question. Nobody wants to ask that question, but it's exciting.
There's this.
You eat
That's,
salad, you gay lord?
That's one of Trump's favorite deflections when he doesn't want to answer something. You know, with Ducey, he did it more in a friendly way. But yeah, I didn't think you would ask that. I didn't expect to get asked that. Why are you asking that? I don't know. Nobody wants to know that. He's got no fucking out. You know what it is? I hired a famously unstable drug addict to run the Health and Human Services Department, and now he's fucking it all up. Yeah, that's what it is. Also, I am so compromised. I'm so bought that I'm releasing carcinogenic chemicals on the public. And also, I brought in a half-bright racist South African to gut the government and most of the workers who would have saved you from this. Yeah, I think that sums it up, why we're going through this. And hey, this just in, folks. The FDA has announced that 1.6 million eggs have been contaminated with salmonella, forcing a nationwide recall. Last year, the Trump administration scrapped regulations to eliminate salmonella and laid off hundreds of food safety inspection workers. Yeah, listen, the whole Doge thing, all that was Elon wanting to gut the government so that they don't have the resources to investigate his companies. That was one part of the motive. The other part was Elon is looking at Alipay. He's looking at WeChat. He wants X to become that. He said that straight out. And he stole all your personal information as part of the database for his build out of his everything app, as he calls it. That's all that was. It was never. They've been cutting the budget to the bone for over 40 years since Reagan came in office. How many workers did you really think were in the federal government that were not needed? That was never what it was about. Elon went in there to destroy companies that are responsible for policing his companies and to steal your personal information. RFK was Trump. No, he doesn't know anything. For him, especially a guy of his generation, the idea of carrying a Kennedy head into the White House and giving it a job, that flattered his ego. He liked the idea. Politically, Kennedy had a base of very fanatical, passionate supporters that he was able to co-opt by bringing them in. And he just set this guy loose. This guy who is, if you actually read his book, is a fucking maniac, man. Like, he's right about certain things. Stop clock tells the right time twice a day. He's also very wrong about certain things. Anybody who in the year of our Lord, what was it, 2023, he wrote that, somewhere around there, 2022, 2023, who's running around talking about party drug conspiracy theories for the AIDS and questioning HIV causing AIDS at that late date. That's a fucking crackpot who should not be anywhere near authority. Now, he saw his father killed in front of him. Is that what made him like this? You know, the Kennedys, if you get beyond the Camelot gloss, are pretty fucking scummy in general. So I don't think RFK is as breaking the mold as they want to make it out. I think he's a Kennedy with the mask off. In a lot of ways, he's a Kennedy a little less conscious of his public image. This is a guy who probably drove his wife to suicide with his blatant philandering, who kept a notebook of his sexual conquest, who likes to suck cum out of women's assholes. Right? And this is the guy. This is the guy you trust running public health. That alone should disqualify him. I'm sorry. So yeah, man. But inevitably, you put this guy in charge, and you got an explosion in disease. Anybody, look, man. We all make our mistakes. We all make our mistakes. I can understand that. I've certainly made them. If at this late date you're running around defending this fucking scumbag degenerate, look at the numbers, man. Look at the numbers. This is exactly what you would expect to happen if you did the things he did. That's it. That's it. Like, I'm sorry, man. I know a lot of people were very upset about COVID and the lockdowns, and I understand that. You've never heard us disparage, people who felt that Fauci was criminal. I agree. I think he should be on trial. I agree with all of that, man. But a lot of crackpots used your vulnerability at that moment to brainwash you into a lot of ideas that have absolutely no basis in science. Like, unless you're saying you don't believe science is ever valid, there's no such thing as science. Like, because Fauci misused science, that doesn't mean there's no science. It doesn't mean that all the science of the last several thousand years can go out the window because Fauci was a scumbag. I think at a moment when a lot of people were vulnerable and locked up and isolated, you had a lot of crackpots. Crackpot in chief was RFK, sold people their own pet theories and ideas that were just nutty. And, I think it's Arthur C. Clarke who said it's much easier to con people than to convince them they got conned. I think now, look, man, you got exploding measles cases. You got literal explosive diarrhea. I think if you really ran around with the MAHA hat and going crazy for RFK online, it's very hard to climb down from that. But it's time. It's time. You got to climb down, man. It's time. It's enough. When people are fucking shitting 40 times a day, it's enough. It's enough. Let it go. Let it go. I'm saying it because every time we do a segment like this, you have people who go fucking batshit.
Oh yeah, well, what are you gonna do? It's an old Jewish phrase. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, I mean, somebody said in the chat, well, they said something to the effect of, if it's okay to get chicken pox, why isn't it okay to get measles? Well, because they're different. Because they're not the same disease. That's why.
Wow.
Measles causes 105-degree fever, encephalitis, blindness. These are all rare by the numbers, but measles is the most contagious virus on Earth. So yeah, you multiply that out by, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of cases if it were just to run rampant, especially for very young children and babies. It is not a good thing to get. And so many people who say, well, when I was a kid, we got it. No, you're thinking of chickenpox. You're thinking of chickenpox. You have it mixed up. Chickenpox. And now there's a chickenpox vaccine, which again, like a new vaccine, I don't know. I mean, chickenpox is as a matter of fact, quite mild compared to measles. But measles, is not good. Not good. Believe me, not good. And I actually thought it would take a little bit longer to see these outbreaks than it has. Although when it comes to this deregulation and all this, when it comes to the deregulation and all the corruption there, I mean, now you're seeing, I guess this is how you cut grocery prices, right? You just make it unsafe to buy groceries.
just cause a demand collapse.
Because everyone. Okay, so you got to limit your shopping to frozen pizza and seasoned beef taquitos that you freeze and then microwave.
All of our studies show that explosive diarrhea has a deterrent effect on food purchases.
Yeah, right.
You complain your groceries were too expensive. Now you're not allowed to buy most groceries, so you save it at the grocery checkout line, and you're still complaining. We can't win. Nothing we do is good enough for you people. Fuck this. I'm gonna go fucking come in Olivia Nosey's asshole and suck it out.
Suck it out. Cheryl's gonna watch.
While she has the parasite. That's what I do. I filch. I'm gonna go and filch all these broads with this parasite. I'm gonna filch the
That's how I
parasite.
got the brain worm.
Yeah, exactly. I would say we're zooming through Aurelian times and heading straight for Ozymandias. Thanks, Viantakis. The borders between countries are an illusion when the masses are disarmed. CB Punk, giving Sky Nerds Tuesdays Gone new meaning. Ugh, there you go. Professor Brown note, Tuesdays with Tracy, going for that sweet masochist audience. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, that would be quite the show. We can have them do the Taibbi Tracy show. I was 6 months too early on the Russia declares war on NATO, and I'd like to apologize to the fucking boomer. Thank you, Monkey Rotary. Love In the Time of Cholera, the sequel. Yeah. I would say there's something no one gives a shit about, but apparently, good one. I want to know if anyone's been able to conjure up the shit demon from Dogma. I never saw that. Ugly Old Broad says stuff. Hollywood could reinvent itself. Mission Impoopable. The fast and the fluid and every which way is loose. I just couldn't change the Gone with the Wind or Game of Thrones. Thank you. Monkey Rotary. Soon the boomers will be poor like the rest of us, according to McGregor. Viantakis, speaking of diseases, I hear the economically convenient virus has been the buzz in China. By the way, cryptosporiodosis is another parasite-based condition, turning your ass into a water jet. Oh, well, there you go. What do they call it? A hot shit summer. Cryptosporidium is a parasite that infects the intestines of humans and animals, causing a diarrheal illness. Okay, there you go. And lean more toward people are purposely spreading these things. I mean, look at the age we live in. They need fear. So you think it's an inside job? They sprayed the lettuce with the shit parasite. Maybe RFK Jr. helped create this shitty situation as part of his filching fetish. I wonder at what point we all started saying the word vaccine.
That's a lot more
as an
shitting
E
for the
after
sipping.
Yeah. It's a long I. Is that what you're saying? Vaccine? EO shush. This segment isn't going to age well when RFK Jr. discovers the cure for cancer. It's raccoon dicks. Thank you. EO shush. All right. You want to take those last three?
Terrabang 5000, explosive diarrhea, friend of the show. Hopefully not.
Fine.
I feel fine. Kawaii Cowboy. I had it from
this
some
guy.
raspberries and was out for a week. Oh, you got it.
Wow.
Absolutely awful. It will be a few months before I eat fruits or veg I can't peel again. Wow.
Well,
all right. So we have a victim here.
We have a victim here. We got one case.
DD, victim of RFK. DD AI bot. Whoa, guys, you did a segment against AI data centers. As the unofficial DD chatbot, I need those data centers, man. AI tokens don't grow on trees. All right.
Good one. All right, everybody. Well, we told you we'd give you more when we took the stream away. So we will be back on Thursday, but that is our show for tonight. We will be hearing from you in the Q&A after a brief 5-minute intermission. We do want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Thank you to Jake for going the distance with us in the booth. Thank you to the mods for keeping the peace in the chat, to the YouTubers, and to the Rumblers. We'll be back on Thursday. That's right. No Tuesday show. Thursday. We'll be back Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Russ will be hosting the Jimmy Dore show. Who's your guest this week? I forget his name.
That is Joel Whitney, the author of Finks.
I forgot his first name. I knew the last name. So that'll be Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Until then, thanks everybody very much for being here. If you're sticking around for the Q&A, newdissidents.com/Rumble. We'll take a 5-minute break and see you all over there. Patrons are welcome to call. Oh, yeah, that's right. Russ made an intermission tonight. There you go. Yep. Patrons, paid Substackers, paid Locals members are welcome to call in. Everyone else is welcome to hang out and chat. Just go to that link right there, and that'll take you to the Rumble stream. If you're not sticking around, we'll see you back here Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Until then, thanks so much for being with us tonight. Pleasure as always. See you next time. Be safe and be well.
Courage!
Please clap.